This meeting is being live streamed. Huh?
Live streaming. Kasi hindi ko ano.
By staying this meeting, you can.
Ay, got it. Live stream. Basta na doon. Kuhan ko sa kanal ng Facebook.
BPI.
Over 7,641 islands, the Philippines is rich in crops, livestock, poultry, and fishery. Through innovations and processing, we can produce globally competitive quality products. As agriculture flourishes domestically and abroad, each region contributes to its continuous growth. The following are the top investment commodities of every region. Known as the gem in the north, Region 1's main crop is rice, which is being cultivated in their lands 2 to 3 times a year, followed by corn and mango. Its champion commodities also include tobacco, fruits, livestock, and other different crops such as garlic, eggplant, mung bean, peanut, and fisheries. Dubbed as the peanut and mango capital of the country, Region 2 is also the top producer of corn, rice, livestock, poultry, and fisheries. The region also have a huge production of legumes and root crops. Also known as the rice granary of the Philippines, Region 3 on the other hand is also the top producer of onion, sweet potato, and mung bean. Meanwhile, the Southern Tagalog or Calabarzon's poultry, livestock, coconut, coffee, and hog production contribute a large percentage to the region's economic growth. They are also considered as the industrial house of the country. The Mimaropa, where the bounty of harvest meets the goodness of nature, is known as the home of Calamansi King in Oriental Mindoro. Alongside this top commodity, rice, vegetable, poultry, fishery, cashew, corn production also contribute to their economic growth. Pili, pineapple, and gabi are the top growing commodities in Region 5. Bicol region's agricultural production continue to rise internationally with the prevalence of good export activities. Region 6, on the other hand, has coined Mananam as one of its priority investment opportunities. Mananam is an acronym for agricultural commodities such as mango, aquaculture, native chicken, natural fiber, abaca and piña, and muscovado sugar. For aquaculture, the emerging commodities are live grouper, milkfish, oysters, and seaweeds. Meanwhile, Guimaras is a world-renowned producer of sweet mangoes. As we speak of mangoes, Region 7 is also at the top of being the country's dried mango capital. Moreover, their agricultural production is also competitive because of processed seaweeds, coffee and cacao, and native chicken. The Philippines is also the largest exporter of banana in Asia and second largest exporter worldwide. One significant contributor is the Eastern Visayas or Region 8. The region is also frontliner in terms of cacao and jackfruit. Zamboanga Peninsula or Region 9 is known as the rubber capital of the Philippines. Coconut, processed fish, seaweeds, livestock, mango, cacao, and other high-value crops are also among the top investment commodities of the region. Region 10 is a proud banana, coffee, and cacao producer. The region is also blessed with vast aquatic resources. The region, together with all other regions in Mindanao, is considered as food baskets in the country. Number 1 in banana, cacao, and coffee is Region 11. The region is tagged as the banana and durian capital of the Philippines. Aside from these, the region also produces fermented beans, corn, rice, abaca, black pepper, coconut, oil palm, hot chili, cassava, rubber, the third largest producer of mango and leading exporter of durian and pomelo, the king of fruits. Soc-Sargen or Region 12 is the pioneer in organic rice export program in the country. They are also known as a major producer of high-value crops like coffee and rubber. The region also relies on poultry, fisheries, livestock, and is a leader in palay and corn production. Meanwhile, the region's top export commodities are asparagus, pineapple, tuna, papaya, and abaca. Region 13, on the other hand, caters a huge percentage in cultivating cacao, coffee, rubber. Moreover, its regional coasts provide various fishery and other aquatic resources. Cordillera Administrative Region is called the vegetable production capital in northern Luzon. Top on their commodities list are coffee, vegetable, and rice. Different varieties of vegetables like potatoes, carrots, cabbages, Chinese cabbage, radish, sayote, sweet peas, and green onions are cultivated in the region. CAR's favorable environmental condition favors the growing of these commodities. Last but not the least, the home of oil palm that contributes 11% production share in the country, the Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao. Rubber and coffee are also two of their top investment commodities. The region is the fourth largest contributor of corn in the country. It is also a rich source of tropical fruits like durian, mangosteen, and lanzones. With its immense area, aquatic resources and fisheries thrive in this land. Curatcha, lobsters, sleeper crabs, and other crustaceans can only be found in its deep blue seas. Abundant in resources, bountiful in production, and rich in hard-working people. This is the agribusiness in the Philippines, the land of endless harvests and investments. Invest in agriculture.
Ito ng bagong pananaw sa produksyon, malakas ang kooperasyon. Katuwang ng mga magsasaka, pamahalaan at pribadong sektor. Dadagdagan ang kaalaman sa kabuhayan. Sa negosyo, pahuhusayin ang kakayahan. Angkop at bagong teknolohiya, subsidyo, patubig at infrastruktura. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maunlad na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa.
Magandang araw po at welcome po sa ating lahat. Good morning to everyone who is watching us here at the Zoom chat, at the Zoom platform, and also from our YouTube Live and also our Facebook Live. Good morning to everyone. And from our Zoom chat, I would also like to acknowledge to everyone who has greeted us good morning, from Mr. Wendell Valenzuela, Carol Gay, Paglaong, DTI 8, Cruz Aloma Farm, Venus Mensol, Teng Sagal, Jingjing Saburao, from Damao, LGU. And good morning po to everyone. And welcome to our day 2 of Usapang Agribiz, a virtual agribusiness opportunities forum on coconut. And once again, my name is Hannah Quito and I will be your host for today's virtual.
Hannah Quito. Oh, Hannah Quito.
Ayun. Yes po, hello po. Kahapon po, we discussed the production technology of coconut, the Cocoa Levy Fund, and PCA's programs and projects for coconut farmers. So thank you so much to all who attend in our day 1. We actually had 270 participants yesterday at our Zoom. But for the others who were not able to join yesterday, our live stream is available on our Facebook and YouTube pages, DA Agribusiness-AMAS. And you could also like and follow our page so you could be updated with our events like this. And now, pag-uusapan po natin ang market and agribusiness opportunities of coconut cheese technology, training for coconut farmers and processors from the Agricultural Training Institute, and we also have businesses who will share their success stories. And now, let's begin the program with the prayer and the singing of the national anthem.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of our God. Father in heaven, always merciful and giver of life, we humbly ask that you bless each one of us. From the speakers, program committees, guests, and participants, guide us to make better decisions as we incorporate what we will learn throughout this activity. Thank you for the infinite blessings and countless opportunities. Lord, today as we start our activity, may we always be grateful to learn new things. Shed the light of your wisdom and bless each one. especially our speakers, as they will share their knowledge with us. Through your mercy and grace, may peace and utmost understanding shine and dwell unto us. Almighty God, accompany each one and help us concentrate to gain more knowledge as we listen attentively. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
For the welcome remarks, let us hear from this recorded video of Ms. Christine Y. Evangelista, our DA Undersecretary for Consumer Affairs and spokesperson.
Good morning to all. Let me welcome you to this event, the Virtual Agribusiness Opportunities Forum, organized by the DA Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service. To our FCA partners, representatives from the Philippine Chamber of Commerce from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, our local government units from different provinces, and those individuals, participants looking for opportunities in agriculture, I thank you for participating in this event. Part of the mandate of AMAS is to promote agribusiness opportunities, especially the commodities with huge market demand in local and export markets. Our resource speakers will provide you with not only the technology, but also valuable information on specific investment opportunities and market demand for the priority commodities featured in this forum. We hope that this event will serve as an avenue to fulfilling your future business ventures and partnerships. AMAS is very much willing to assist you in this endeavor. So I hope that you will find value in our session today, and after the event, you can always reach out to our office. Thank you very much and have a productive day ahead.
On behalf of USEC, we would like to thank you again for joining us today at Usapang Agribiz, and hopefully you'll stay po until the end of the forum. Now, let us go through a few house rules through this audiovisual presentation. So just a few reminders to everyone, you could share your video, but keep your mics muted unless you have something to say po during our Q&A portion, so that, yes, po, we do not distract our speakers from unnecessary noise. And if you have questions to our speakers, please send it to the chat box to your right, and we'll answer them later on. And then lastly po, listen attentively to our speakers and enjoy the virtual forum. Now, I would like to call on Ms. Gian Suaze, our Market Specialist 4 of the Agribusiness Promotion Division, to introduce our participants for today's forum. Ms. Gian?
Hello, good morning, everyone. So I am Gian from the Department of Agriculture, Agribusiness Promotion Division. So we would like to thank everyone for participating in this Usapang Agribiz for coconut. So I'd like to acknowledge our participants who joined us through Facebook, YouTube, and of course in this Zoom platform. So we have 240 coconut farmers po who registered and joining us either through the different platforms. So other farmers, individual farmers and growers, we have 124 farmers. We have 45 entrepreneurs and business owners, 44 cooperatives and private sectors are 43, and also we're joined by different students, Department of Agriculture offices, the local government units nationwide, coconut processors, the agricultural attaches, and some of our OFWs are here also, investors, exporters, and also total we have 746 registered participants for this event. So I hope that you would learn from our speakers, and also I thank all the speakers for giving us time or sharing their knowledge and expertise in the Usapang Agribiz. So thank you everyone, and Hannah, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gian. So now that we have already introduced our participants, may we also request to have a photo opportunity with everyone, with the participants, resource speakers, and organizers. Kindly please turn on your cameras and smile po tayo. So Mr. Renzo, could you take the photos for us?
Right. Morning po. Bali nasa 6 page po tayo. And every icon po, just smile na lang po. Para, right? Una po. Page 1 po muna. 1, 2, 3, smile. And page 2 po. Right? Smile po. 1, 2, 3. Right. Page 3 po. 1, 2, 3, smile. Page 4 po. Right. 1, 2, 3, smile. Page 5. 1, 2, 3, smile. And last po. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay na po. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sir Renzo. Could we remind everyone again to please mute your mics if wala naman pong sasabihin para po ma-avoid natin yung unnecessary background noise. Thank you so much po. And now, I hope you are all excited because we can now formally start our discussions. So we'll start off with the Agricultural Training Institute's training for coconut farmers and processors. Our resource speaker is the Project Development Officer 3 and Chief of the Policy and Standards Development section of the ATI Policy and Planning Division. He is part of the team from ATI that provided technical assistance and inputs during the development of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan, or CFIDP, in which he will present today po the initiatives as mandated by Republic Act 11524, or the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund Act. May I call on Mr. Bernard James Pandang. Sir Bernard.
Yes po. So, good morning po sa ating
Good
lahat.
morning po.
So, let me just share po my screen. Okay. So, hopefully, kita po natin. No? So, first of all, thank you for this opportunity po no, to present the Agricultural Training Institute's initiative under the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan or CFIDP in accordance with the provisions of RA 11524 or the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund Act. So, as an overview po, the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund Act was signed by President Duterte last February 2021 po, with its effectivity starting March 13 of the same year. So ito pong batas na to, it mandated the creation of a trust fund no, from the recovered coco levy assets to fund different interventions for the benefit of the coconut farmers in the country. So ito pong batas na to seeks to increase the productivity and income of coconut farmers and their families. It seeks to rehabilitate and modernize the coconut industry and to contribute in the alleviation of poverty and increasing social equity in the country po. So one of the tasks po dito sa batas na to is the creation of the CFITP, which is spearheaded by the Philippine Coconut Authority or PCA po. So si PCA po conducted series of workshops, meetings no po regarding the development of the CFIDP in which last June 2 na-aprobahan po ito ni President through Executive Order number 172. So ito pong plano na to, naglalaman po siya ng mga policies, directions, and interventions na susundin po ng mga bawat ahensya ma-ensure na ma-achieve po natin yung mga desired goals para sa coconut industry natin at ma-ensure na tama po yung paggagamitan ng pondo. No? Since ito nga pong pondo na ito is based on the recovered coco levy no po, na galing po sa mga coconut farmers. Specifically po, ito po yung mga different program components ng CFIDP. So una po, we have social protection, farmers organization and development, hybridization, community-based farm enterprise development, integrated coconut processing and downstream products, support services, and innovative researches. No? Kasama rin po dito as an overarching component is yung program management. No? So for the trading component po, under po siya nung social protection in which si ATI at si TESDA po yung in charge. So specifically po under Article 2, Section 4, Item B, si ATI po together with TESDA is mandated to train coconut farmers and their families as listed po sa Coconut Registry System ni PCA at ang mga trainings pong ibibigay ay related to coconut production and processing technologies, value addition in coconut products, diversification and sustainable farming methods, kasama dito yung organic farming, financial literacy, at farm business schools. No po. Itong framework din po nito na nasa ilalim, pinapakita niya po yung relationship of the and the importance of the training component no, dun sa ibang mga components din ng under the CFIDP, no, particularly on farm improvement, shared facility, at yung pagpapalakas po ng mga coconut farmers cooperatives tsaka organizations po natin. So si ATI po, as papakita po natin mamaya, in-accommodate niya po yung mga training requirements ng other agencies, no, particularly on farm improvement and shared facilities. So ano-ano po ba yung mga major CFIDP initiatives ng ATI? So maliban po sa training, meron po tayong strategic communication initiatives at yung certification natin ng learning sites for agriculture at the provision of training grants. So isa-isahin po natin sila. So first po is the development of the facilitator's guide, training modes, and learning materials. So ito po ay ginagawa no para maging reference no sa pag-roll out po ng iba't ibang mga trainings na gagawin, hindi lamang po ni ATI pati ng mga partners siya no, particularly yung mga trainers na ite-train niya po no. So sinisigurado po nito na ma-harmonize or tama no yung impormasyon na ibibigay through the different package of technologies na ituturo po sa iba't ibang trainings na i-implement po. Sumunod po dito ay magkakaroon din ng tinatawag nating Coconut Specialist Training. So ito pong training na to ay nakafocus siya on coconut value chain systems, so information on coconut value chain systems, kung saan nagde-develop po tayo ng mga resource persons na maaaring itap, no, para mag-deliver ng mga different topics related to coconut, no. Aside from that po, pag mayroong mga coconut farmers na nangangailangan ng tulong or impormasyon sa kanilang pagtatanim, ay pwede pong itap itong mga coconut specialist natin. So this year po, kakatapos lang i-conduct yung National Coconut Specialist Training, in which next year po, early next year, ay magkakascade na po sila sa pag-conduct ng mga regional coconut specialist training po. Next po ay yung mga different training of trainers and farmer level trainings po natin. So kung makikita nyo po dito, ito po yung mga different topics kung saan pasok dun sa trainings po natin. No? So meron po tayong training on coconut-based farm business school, good agricultural practices for coconut, coconut byproducts and byproducts production, native animal production and management, dairy farm operation and management, milk processing and management, coconut coffee and coconut cacao farming systems. So ito pong mga training na to ay in partnership po with the different agencies, no, na tulad niya po na nabanggit natin kanina. Particularly yung mga coconut related trainings po is in partnership with the PCA, since si PCA po ay isa po sa mga initiative nila, no, ay yung pamimigay po ng mga hybrid seedlings po sa coconut products and byproducts naman po in partnership with PCA din and Filmec, in which si Filmec po ay mamimigay ng mga shared facilities, particularly yung mga machineries and equipment na pwede po natin gamitin, no, sa pagpaprocess po ng mga coconut products. Si BAI po na mamimigay ng mga native animal, particularly chicken, goat, cattle, and pig. Si NDA naman po ng mga dairy animals, particularly cattle and goat. And si DA High Value po, kung saan mamimigay sila ng coffee and cacao seedlings po. So ito pong mga ito ay may mga different trainings nga po tayo, no? At ito po yung mechanism na susundin po natin. So si ATI po magsisimula muna siyang mag-conduct ng national TOTs. Tapos ito po mga matetrain po natin sa national TOTs, sila po yung magte-train at magko-conduct ng mga regional TOTs. Then, ito po mga regional TOT participants po natin or yung mga na-train, sila naman po yung magko-conduct ng farmer level trainings. So, pinapakita po nito na magde-develop po tayo, no, ng cadre of competent trainers na magtuturo dun sa mga different topics na nabanggit po natin kanina. At sila rin po yung tutulong din, no, on providing farm and business advisory services, no, kung may mga iba pang katanungan yung mga coconut farmers nating matitrain, no, dun sa kanilang farming engagement po. So sunod po is yung conduct of strategic communications initiative. So una po dito, kasama dito is yung development ng courseware and administration ng e-learning course. So ito pong e-learning course na to is a distant learning modality po na ginagamit ni ATI, kung saan may mga different e-learning courses or online learning courses, no, coconut related, na pwede pong mag-enroll, no, ang hindi lang mga coconut farmers natin pero yung mga interesadong matuto dito sa mga subject matter na to, no po. So it follows po yung tagline na any place and any pace, since self learning po ito, no. So kung may mga available time po kayo, pwede po kayo mag-enroll nito, tapos pwede nyo pong tapusin siya on your own time and pace, no, pag may available na oras po tayo. In support din po dun sa mga trainings natin is yung development and distribution ng mga knowledge products. So ito po mga knowledge products na to, ito po yung mga print IEC materials natin na pinapamigay during trainings and other activities, pag-develop po ng mga radio elements and programs, no, for our school on the air programs na gagawin, as well as yung mga video materials na pine-play po natin, no. Kasama rin po dito yung pag-document ng mga success stories mga best practices na pwedeng pagkuhanan natin ng impormasyon. Next po, under strategic communication is the conduct of school on the air program. So tulad po nung nabanggit kanina, isa rin po itong distant learning modality na ginagamit po ng ATI kung saan pwede po tayo makakuha ng impormasyon through yung radio, no? Kung ano yung mga different coconut related topics din na pwedeng i-discuss dito, no? So ni-utilize po nito yung paggamit nga ng radio, particularly para dun sa mga hard to reach areas, no? So pwede po tayo mag-enroll din dito once na may ini-implement na po, tapos a series of every week or every time, no, every schedule may mga different topics pong dinidiscuss. Tapos later on din po may graduation ito, no? Next po is the conduct of information caravan. So ang purpose po nitong info caravan is to introduce yung different interventions under the CFIDP sa mga beneficiaries niya, no, particularly yung mga coconut farmers, no. So itong info caravan po na ito kinokonduct to para paliwanagan palalo, no, yung mga coconut farmers natin kung ano ba yung mga benepisyong pwedeng makuha nila given RA 11524 at ano yung mga iba't ibang programa at serbisyo na ibibigay po ng iba't ibang ahensya, no. So this year po, meron ng mga 30 info caravans na na-conduct si ATI in partnership with different implementing agencies po, no. At in the next coming weeks and months, may mga susunod pa po tayong co-conduct. So, co-conduct po ito across different regions, no, and provinces in the country po. Next po, for the certification of our coconut-based learning sites for agriculture or COCO-LSA. So dito po, yung mga interesadong coconut farmers or mga coconut cooperatives or groups may apply, no, to become certified COCO-LSA. So si ATI po ay magbibigay ng support, no, in aid in further developing yung mga farms nila to become a model farm and technology demonstration site or area na nag-showcase po ng different coconut-related technologies and practices as well as doable farming strategies na pwedeng gayahin ng ibang coconut farmers, no? Or na mga interesadong tao na mag-engage sa farming, no? So sa proseso po nito, magkakaroon ng review, assessment, validation, no? Para ma-ensure na yung mga nag-signify o yung gusto maging COCO-LSA po natin ay pasa dun sa criteria and requirements po, no, to become a certified LSA. So specifically po, no, i-present ako lang kung ano ba yung mga eligible criteria natin. So kung ikaw ay individual coconut farmer, so una, syempre dapat nga po registered tayo dun sa Coconut Farmers Registry System ng PCA, no. Tapos yung in terms of farm mo naman, pwedeng ikaw yung landowner, owner tiller or grower, basta meron kang at least 1 hectare of coconut land, willing po kayong mag-demonstrate ng coconut technologies, no, particularly integrated and diversified, no. Tapos willing po kayong maging matrain pa, no, kasi kayo rin po ay i-develop to become trainers din at i-perform nyo po yung mga responsibilities assigned as a cooperator na po. Ito rin po, similar po doon, pag individual farmers ka, ito naman yung mga eligible requirements pag ikaw ay coconut-based cooperators or association, no. So similarly po, yung farmland po natin ay dapat at least 1 hectare. Meron po kayong mga appropriate valid registration, no, from SEC, CDA, DOLE, or accredited po kayo ng PCA. Yung group po nyo po or organization nyo ay active. Yung mga members nyo po ay willing to demonstrate din, no, coconut technologies, particularly integrated and diversified farming systems nga po. At i-perform po, no, yung different tasks and responsibilities na given, no, as a LSA cooperator po. Next po dito, and last of the major initiatives, is yung provision ng training grants po. So dito po, nagbibigay po si ATI ng support, no, for the conduct of farmer level trainings kung saan ang mga ituturo po natin ay mga needs-based learning activities, no, aim to improve yung knowledge, skills, attitudes ng mga coconut farmers on topics related din sa coconut value chain systems. So ang mga pwede pong pasa ng proposals ay yung mga accredited private extension service providers po natin, other CFIDP implementing agencies, mga local government units, and state universities and colleges po, no? Kasama po dito, or pag magpapasa po tayo, may cover letter lang tayo papasa at training proposals with yung necessary attachment for review. So, at the same time po, no, hintayin po natin yung call ni ATI for proposals bago tayo magpasa. So, every year po, may call for proposal naman po si ATI. So, ngayon po, before I end my topic po, I would like to share po a few quotes, no, from Mr. Pepito Kapampangan, the Mindanao representative of the PCA Board of Directors, no, na sinabi niya po ito nung isa sa mga info caravan in Davao, no, Davao region nung July po, in which ini-encourage siya po yung mga coconut farmers, no, to avail of the services of the CFIDP, no, kasi yun nga, various agencies po ay nagtutulong-tulong para makamit natin, no, yung inaasahan nating or desired goal natin, no, para sa coconut farmers and industry po, at matulungan talaga yung mga coconut farmers to become real entrepreneurs, no po. At the same time po, sabi po ni Miss Mariam Togoto, no, the chairman of CocoLink and a member of the Malagos Kawayan Small Farmers Association, na ini-encourage siya po yung mga coconut farmers na hindi pa nakapag-register sa farmer registry na mag-register, no, para makapag-avail ng mga benefits po under the CFIDP at maging involved, no, dun sa implementation na to, since tulad nga po na nabanggit natin kanina, ito po ay galing sa Coco Levy na kinolekta from coconut farmers, no, na maaring mga galing po sa magulang natin, no, sa mga lolo pa natin, no, na ngayon po ay nakukuha na natin yung benepisyo nito. So with that po, thank you very much for the opportunity to present nga po ulit. And for any updates po on ATI initiatives, you may visit po our website and our different social media platforms po, no. And kung may mga different questions po kayo, particularly on mga CFIDP related initiatives po natin, you may visit po yung mga specific social media platforms ng mga ATI regional training centers, no, across our country po. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much po, Sir Bernard. Malaking tulong po talaga sa ating mga farmers yung mga training na hatid ng ATI. So meron din po pala tayong e-learning modalities. So saktong-sakto po yan dito sa habang pandemic pa po, para kahit nasa bahay tayo, natututo pa rin tayo. And also na-mention din ni Sir na important po na mag-register sa National Registry ng Coconut Farmers para updated tayo sa mga tulong na hatid ng gobyerno. And if you have questions po for Sir Bernard, pakisend na lamang po sa ating chat box and later po we'll answer them during the Q&A portion. And I think meron din po mga naghahanap ng presentation, copy ng presentation ni Sir. So meron po tayong feedback form na it will also serve as our attendance. So pwede nyo pong isend doon ang inyong comments or suggestions. And ang link po ay isi-send dito sa chat box. So, ang email address po na inyong i-register sa feedback form, yun po ang gagamitin namin to send the copy of the presentations. Pero please answer that po kahit po after na lang ng forum para mapakinggan ninyo yung lahat ng ating mga speakers. Ayun po. Thank you so much, Sir Bernard, again. And now, let's move on to the next topic, which is the opportunities in domestic and international market and high potential MSMEs opportunities in the coconut industry. Our resource speaker is a licensed professional agricultural engineer since 1988, with significant experience in research, extension, training and education, and participatory product and technology development with focus on coconut production and processing. She first joined PCA, the Philippine Coconut Authority, in 1988 as a Coconut Development Officer and Project Development Officer in PCA Regional Office 11, Division Chief for Market Research and Promotions Division in May 2015 to January 2021. Now po, she is heading PCA's Trade and Market Development Department, which facilitates trade and promotes investments through trade exhibitions, B2B matching, and other promotional activities, including the enhancement of conformity with quality and safety standards and compliance with market regulations. Let us welcome Ms. Rosel Villaruel.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning po, ma'am.
May I request my staff to share the screen? Okay. This morning, I am glad to share with you in this virtual platforms the opportunities in the coconut industry, basically for our coconut farmers and the micro, small, and medium enterprises. First, I would like to harmonize first our understanding about opportunities and where they should come from. Slide 2. So opportunity is, in simplest term, is a chance to do something we are interested in. May joke noon, napaka-opportunista mo, parang mag-aawa yung mga friends. But in the positive point of view, opportunity is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. And if we zero into business opportunity, it is the chance to take advantage of an occurrence in the market to begin a business or a package of investment that allows the buyer to begin a business or trade. In this case, there is a condition that is favorable, and the main objective is to make profits. Mahirap po ang negosyo na walang profit and walang income. So where does these opportunities come from? On the screen is a generic value chain map of coconut oil production. We see here that the opportunities are found in the various value chain sectors, such as the input provision, primary and production and processing, in intermediary trading, secondary processing, and trading and distribution, to final sale. So sa sale po tayo kumikita. Participating in the activities as operator or actor will exploit the opportunities such as supply of inputs, trading, production, processing, and distribution. There are several modalities to choose from, especially that the pandemic opened our eyes to the world of online business. So pwede po ito homemade, pwede po yung mga mothers natin, they will engage in food cart business. Pwede rin po itong office-based kung meron tayong available space. And pwede rin naman online. Uso ngayon yung dropshipping wherein yung entrepreneur will just engage a third party to deliver yung mga items for them. And then that easy business will be going. In yesterday's discussion, there was a question about copra prices, for which I answered, we do not have a control, and that one way to have a sense of control is to pursue value adding in order to have alternative products and alternative markets. That leads us to the question on what factors to consider. Next slide, please. Several times dito sa office, many interested potential entrepreneurs nagtatanong. They ask for availability of business plans to copy. Is this really correct? Business plans should be very specific and need not be copied considering these factors. So number one, kailangan po i-define natin yung market potential within your areas of jurisdiction and to target markets. Is there a market for this basic or value-added product. Like for example, if you go on producing nata de coco, can you really market this? Then the next factor is, do you have the skills and knowledge? Is the required skills and knowledge to run the business easy to acquire? Kailangan po tayo when we enter into a business, we should be well equipped to contribute to the production and the envisaged products and services. Then next is, do we have the interest? Kasi most of our coconut farmer organization, minsan kung may program and project yung government agency, gusto nila akuin lang just for the benefit of having it, but wala silang real interest to do the business, and they're not willing to invest their time, money, and everything to make the business run. Next consideration is the time. Hindi pwede na when you establish a business, ipadala mo lang ito sa iba. So you really have the time and ensure your availability to make the business run. One of the best lessons I've learned in the university is that kung may negosyo ka, dapat ikaw yung magdadala nito. Most especially, wag mo itong i-entrust sa iyong mga relatives, mga kapatid. Kasi that would be a very good reason for the business to fail. It is subject to abuse. Next slide, please. So you also need to consider the technology. Is the complete package of technology available and accessible? Baka yung nakikita mo is just portion of the technology and it would not ensure the business to fully run in a profitable manner. Next is the raw materials availability. Common error po ito na an entrepreneur would venture into a coconut processing business, but without appropriately assessing yung kanyang raw material base. Kasi may nakikita siya, marami namang coconut dyan sa tabi-tabi. When I travel like 10 kilometers from my house, marami naman ako nakikita. So it's not that. Because marami ngang coconut na tayo dyan, pero nakakontrata na po yun. There's no assurance that na iyo yun. So you really have to assess appropriately, and mas maganda if you have your own source, mas maganda po. So you assess your business based on the raw material base that you can ensure. And then the next would be capital and money. So how much investments does the enterprise require? Kailangan malaman yun at the very start. There should be a considerable or appropriate projection of cash flows, because pag cash flow na yung problema, nako talagang mamroblema ka. So it is good to consider low investment, low risk, and ito po yung magaganda for startups. Next slide, please. And lastly, consider the risks. Risks should be identified first. Entrepreneurs are set apart from ordinary managers because of their ability to take and manage risks. Pursuing a business opportunity is not a matter of quick decision. It should entail appropriate environmental scanning and analysis. Otherwise, the profits would not come, but instead loss of investments. So, meron man siguro akong hindi na enlist dito. You also need to consider the other resources, yung mga equipment, the structures needed, ano yung mga special training na kailangan, especially the operation of the equipment to achieve good efficiency, ano yung required power line. Baka hindi alam ng iba na some equipments need 3-phase line. So, kailangan itong makonsider ahead of time. And then, is there enough land area available? Kasi minsan, just like for coconut husk processing, meron naman akong 500 square meters, pwede na yan. But in considering the total land area requirement, you should consider yung where you put your raw materials, saan yung mga wastes, saan iikot yung mga vehicles that would deliver and haul materials. So considering all this, please let me now proceed to some information about the coconut industry, where these opportunities should come from. Let me give you a brief profile about the coconut industry. Okay, so our coconut industry is one of the pillars of the national economy. Tayo po yung biggest agricultural exporter in terms of coconut oil, desiccated coconut, copra meal, activated carbon, and oleochemicals. We consistently contribute at least 30% of our agricultural export value every year. In early 2020s, the country was already providing 1/3, 1920s pala, 1/3 of the world's demand for copra, with the USA as the biggest market. Traditional market po talaga natin ang US. So from copra, then to coconut oil, and then to covering other products. With the expansion of the global trading, from 1 million hectares in the 1950s, the country has now about 3.65 million hectares of coconut farms, accounting to 26% of the coconut, the total agricultural area. We produce about 14.4 billion nuts a year, or 40 million nuts on a day-to-day basis. To date, we are exporting about 53 to 55 coconut products. Next slide, please. Globally, coconut ranks third in terms of coconut production, and it also ranks third in the Philippines, next to palay and sugarcane. This despite low coconut productivity. Doubling our production would make coconut as a leading Philippine crop in terms of volume. Kaya dapat we exert more effort in doubling our production.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. On the screen, you will see that Mindanao is our main producer of coconuts, contributing 61% of the total production. Davao region po yung leading natin, although in terms of area, Calabarzon po is the biggest. Next slide, please. Looking at our exports, ito po yung ating mga market shares based on average volume from 2017 to 2021. We export around 55 coconut products in the last 5 years, and crude coconut oil remains our #1 export. On the left screen are the top 10 export commodities, 7 of which are byproducts of coconut oil processing, except desiccated coconut, coconut water, and concentrates. On the right side are the next 25, which are also byproducts of coconut oil, except for VCO, coconut flour, and nata de coco, and also liquid coconut milk. So, lahat po halos ng ating exports ay galing po sa coconut oil. Next slide, please. Looking further, sa next slide, nandyan po yung ating different products completing the 55. It is important to note that 15 are again byproducts of coconut oil, but each commodity contributes only less than 1% by volume. Take note that makapuno is one of the promising unique products which is gaining markets. The coconut sugar and its byproducts, which are marked checked, also contributes 0.04%. So, naging popular man ang coconut sa products na ito, the sugar, the tawag nito, yung mga syrup. Pero looking at the figures, napakaliit pa po niya compared to the coconut oil. Next slide, please. So the graphs show the proportions in terms of export volume and value, and crude coconut oil is number 1, followed by its byproducts, the copra meal, cotton oil, RBD. Itong RBD, ito yung cooking oil, activated carbon, charcoal, and cocoa peat, among others, which comprise about 83% by volume. While desiccated coconut and its byproducts comprise around 14.8%. Our major markets are US and Europe, and these markets require organic certified products and also require quality and safety requirements. Looking at our imports, we go to the next slide. We import around 46 coconut products. On the left are the top 10, highest of which is copra. On the right are the next 12. Please note that our major imports are also byproducts of coconut oil, and that shampoo, coconut water, and soaps can be produced by our coconut farmer organizations, considering the ease of entry as the skills required are simple and investments are lower. So kung titingnan nyo yung nasa lista, like shampoo, bath soaps, soap chips, laundry soaps, mapoproduce naman natin yan. So next slide, please. So shown on the screen are the import commodities to complete the 46. You might wonder why we are importing these products when in fact we have them. There are several probable reasons which we note and need to validate or verify further. Yung una na probable reason is that the products such as copra are cheaper to import rather than in some periods of the year, medyo mahal siya. Then another probable reason would be there were shortage of supply and they need to meet commitments kasi meron tayong forward marketing. So kung nakapirma ng kontrata and at the time medyo merong shortage sa supply, then our exporters need to import to meet the commitments. And the third probable reason would be the use of wrong codes. Meron pa po tayong aayusin sa ating commodity classification, yung pag-assign ng codes, kasi sometimes nakalump lang po ito others, hindi natin maklasify yung products, kaya nga merong mga products na nahiwalay. So next slide. The graphs show the proportions in terms of import volume and value, where copra is still our number 1 export, followed by shampoo, then yung ating soaps. Please note also that activated carbon utilizes coconut shell charcoal, which come from us. Ang nangyayari kasi nito, ini-export natin yung charcoal and then bumabalik siya sa atin as activated carbon. So medyo mahal na. And there were years that processors of water filters, pati yung ating users in the mining sector were really in need of activated carbon kasi kahit sila hindi na makabili. Next slide, please. So, makikita natin sa slides, it says that coconut oil market is expected to increase and grow at a rate of 4.6% by year 2028. Our major export destination are US, Netherlands, Malaysia, Italy, and China. When we say coconut oil export, kasama na po dito lahat ng forms of coconut oil. Ito yung crude, ito yung refined, bleached, and deodorized, and then yung cochin oil, which is just refined and bleached, and kasama na rin po yung ating virgin coconut oil. Next slide, please. Ito po yung ating major growth drivers and market opportunities sa global. Kasi as mentioned, mag-increase po ito siya ng around 4.6% by 2018. So in consideration, dahil ang ating population is growing, the Philippines, we have around 103 million population growth. So kumakain naman lahat, naliligo naman lahat, nag-toothbrush. So siyempre lalaki yung mga demand ng different coconut products. And then we also have the changing dietary habits. And then the health consciousness, especially nung nakaraang 2 taon where we experienced the pandemic, somehow it changed our preferences. Instead of going out, we prefer yung pagkain na lang sa loob ng bahay, mag-order na lang. And then yung ating interest to be healthy. Kaya nandoon yung ating organic products. Dahil ito ay natural, gusto natin ma-prolong yung ating lives. So we just want to stay healthy and avoid like illnesses para po wala tayong expenses on hospitalization and yung mga unnecessary medicines. So meron din tayong growth of e-commerce, yung nabanggit ko kanina na online marketing. So sino ba naman ngayon ang walang cellphone? Hindi lang tig-isa, kundi tig-2, 3. So kaya nauso po itong ating e-commerce wherein we just buy online kasi ayaw na nga po natin lumabas and ayaw natin ma-expose. Next slide please. So we go to the domestic potentials ng ating coconut products. So with what happened, especially the global conflict right now, it is just important that we expand the domestic market because it will shield the industry as well as the local consumers from the impact of global price shocks. Especially ngayon, merong conflict, biglang tumaas yung ating gasolina, crudo, yung ating mga wheat flour. So pag yan ang tumaas, tataas na po lahat. So common households, hospitals, government, offices, restaurants and hotels are among the potential big markets of coconut products. They should contribute towards food, feed, and energy security for our country. Ito po yung drivers in the domestic, yung growing demand for food vis-a-vis population growth. We have our preference for home dining, wherein nandoon yung ating mga cooking oil, vinegar, sugar, sauces, aminos, coconut milk, lahat ng mga kitchen essentials. And then the need for alternative locally, katulad ng for fuel. Ano yung alternative na pwede pag wala na mayroong shortage ng ating gasoline? So meron tayong coconut methyl ester. And then kung merong shortage ng wheat flour, meron tayong coconut flour, of course, together with the other flour from other root crops na most of them are also intercrops of coconut like gabi, yung cassava, potatoes. Next slide, please. Okay. So, mentioned earlier are yung ating mga preferences for natural and healthy products for health and wellness. So uso po ngayon itong ating virgin coconut oil which is high in lauric. I don't say na lahat naman mag-produce ng virgin coconut oil, but ito lang po yung potential. We could take different business models. Pwede po tayong buhay na lang doon sa manufacturers para hindi tayo mag-congest doon sa sector na yon. So we can produce instead the massage oils, the soaps, facial cleansers, and other applications. Pwede naman yun maging diversified. And then we have the coconut water. Ito po yung pinaka rapidly increasing emerging coconut product ngayon na nagkagulo yung ibang countries dahil ito po ay high in electrolyte. Maganda po ito sa ating hydration. Alam mo, marami yung mga babies, mga kids, even adults na namamatay dahil sa hydration. dahil na-overlook lang po natin yung need for rehydration. So ito po, meron po tayong coconut water na natatapon lang po. So we could optimize the opportunities from here. Marami po itong nagagawa, mga nata de coco, vinegar, and directly for water beverage. Then we have the cocoa aminos, na galing din sa coconut sap. Sarap po ito and maganda for yung mga diabetics kasi low in sugar po ito. And then we have the coconut flour na gluten-free and at the same time high in dietary fiber. Sino ba naman ang maging healthy? So ito po ay maganda for the keto, low gluten, high fiber, low sugar na mga products. Next slide, please. So we have the low glycemic index cocoa sweetener. Pwede po tayong magtanim lang ng mga magagandang dwarfs along the boundaries ng ating farms para po hindi ma-disrupt yung ating coconut fruit production. Dahil yung coconut sweetener production po, pag ipurso natin ito, wala na po tayong bunga, mawawala na tayo ng buko, mawawala na tayo ng coconut oil, mawawala na tayo ng coconut flour. So we might as well manage our farm, plan it properly na magkameron lang po tayo ng mga additional planting on the boundaries para po sa preferable varieties for coconut sweetener production. Then we have another potential, nata de coco from coconut water. Maganda po ito for the diet dahil high fiber and bacterial cellulose po ito, good for medical applications such as burn or wound patches or dressing. Meron po tayong demand nito if mag-produce po kayo ng nata de coco for wound dressing. So, another potential is the buko. Pwede natin itong gawing national drink, lactose-free milk, and then yung ating mga yogurts. Ito po yung trend ngayon to improve po yung ating yung biota, yung sa ating intestines. So kaya nga kailangan natin ng pro and prebiotics. So nandyan po, in po si coconut. And then we have from Makapuno yung galactumanan, which is a natural food additive, thickener, binder, extender, emulsifier, and stabilizer. So ginagamit po ito sa cosmetics industry dahil sa kanyang hydrating property. Maganda po siya sa mga facial creams, lotions, and other personal care products. And then meron din po tayo yung lambanog. Although we don't really encourage to produce a lot of lambanog, pero ito po ay isang potential for which a micro and small medium enterprise can exploit provided na meron na kayong production of sap for the other various products like sweetener, yung aminos, the vinegars, and the syrup. Hindi po pwede na you will jump into lambanog production na wala po kayong base kasi it won't be practical. Kasi po in producing yung ethyl alcohol and yung lambanog, kukunti lang po yung makukuha natin. So, dapat diversified yung product. Ang mga products po ito fall at doon sa health and wellness products. Next slide, please. Then we also have the sustainable, environment-friendly products. Itong charcoal, baka hindi nyo na-appreciate ito. Marami po tayong gagamitan ng charcoal and if we can just improve the efficiency of production, pwede po tayong gagawa further ng charcoal briquettes and yung granulated charcoal. And then pwede po itong alternative fuel, alternative ng LPG and all the other fuels. Then we have our coconut methyl ester. We are promoting po yung utilization of coconut methyl ester. Blend 5 lang po, although it can be used 100%. But magagamit po ito in times of, or in cases there will be shortage of petroleum fuel. Then doon po sa ating coconut husks, meron po tayong potential for the production of boards. Yung coconut farmers, maybe kung malaki yung investment for the board processing, pwede silang mag-invest into the supply of the coconut chips to produce the boards. And then meron din po yung tannin, as mentioned kahapon. Tannin can be produced doon po from the coconut husk, and it will be a substitute for formaldehyde resin. Kasi po yung plywoods, if you smell the newly purchased plywoods, di ba maamoy yun? Yun yung mga merong formaldehyde resin, and hindi po yun maganda sa environment or sa ating health. Now, if we produce the tannin to replace that as an adhesive, and also for dyes, for coloring, it will be more environment friendly. Next slide, please. So ito po yung ating major investment area sa downstream. Yung mga medium enterprises, pwede po silang mag-invest into coconut methyl ester production, refined glycerin, kasi ini-import po natin yung glycerin, and then fractionated medium chain triglycerides from coconut oil, and then some alternative energy for LPG, yung ating CME. And then sa upstream naman, ito po yung makapag-participate fully yung ating coconut farmer groups, dahil ito po yung pwede low investments, low risk po ito, and pwede po siyang i-produce in smaller volume. Dahil po if you intend to go and export, kailangan po kayo mag-maintain ng at least 3 vans monthly to maintain po yung supply. Hindi po pwede na pasulput-sulput ka lang to supply and then paunti-unti. So for the low investment, low risk, low volume commodities, ito po yung pwede. So as mentioned earlier, yung coconut husk chips for the board production. In fact, kung wala pa yung board production, pwede na po itong chips po sa ating cut flower industry. Ginagamit po ito sa landscaping and cut flower industry. We have and then yung water for coconut water beverage, pwede po ito in small scale. Yung mga mothers dyan, pwede ito food carts, just mere pasteurization, just like the buko na ibebenta daily, pwede po ito. And then yung biomass utilization na gagamitin as input doon sa briquetting, yung charcoal making. And then pwede po tayong mag-value add ng buko, the sap, and the pit. So, going back to our coconut value chains, please allow me now to locate where the opportunities are. So, next slide, please. Yan. Okay. If you look at the slide, nandyan po yung coconut oil value chain, supply chain. Sa left, nandyan po yung for the coconut farming sector. And on the right, yan po yung for the processing sector. We call that the downstream products, and yung sa upper side, sa farming sector, yung upstream products. Yesterday, meron pong nag-present ng different technologies, and actually, they also are tantamount to opportunities. Kung titingnan natin, dyan sa baba is yung opportunity sa coir or coconut husk processing. Nandyan yung production of organic fertilizers, whether solid or liquid, biopesticides, briquettes, different coir products. Mentioned na po yun kahapon, the coconuts, the handicrafts, charcoal briquettes, biomass utilization, landscape gardening using coco peat, and even the high value vegetables such as mushroom for coco peat as substrate. And then again, yung coconut water beverage for food carts and kiosks. Kasi po, lalo na sa copra production, natatapon lang po yung coconut water. So, you might as well establish some micro enterprises out of it. Yung mga food carts natin, pwede naman sa harap ng mga schools, sa terminals, provided a good manufacturing practices will be applied. Yung sa coconut water na lang natin, aside from the water beverage, pwede din tayo ng nata de coco, yung vinegar. So, marami po ito, and Philippine Coconut Authority would be willing to provide the assistance, yung technology package po, para po kayo ay makapag-start up. Next slide, please. So next na pinakamalaking value chain natin sa coconut industry is yung desiccated coconut. Unfortunately, sa desiccated coconut, ang naiiwan na lang po sa farm ay yung ating coconut husks, kasi yung shell ay nadadala na po doon sa processing plants. So with that, with the desiccated coconut industry, na-limit po yung participation ng coconut farmer because as early as possible, na ibenta na po yung kaniyang husk coconut, and hindi na po siya yung may-ari, ang processor na po ng desiccated coconut. So with that, naiiwan na lang pong opportunity is yung production of organic fertilizers, yung briquettes na unti, pwede naman ito sa other biomass. And then the core products, yung mga handicrafts, yung twines, the coconuts for geoerosion control. Lessened na po siya. Then the next slide, ito po yung maganda for the farmers talaga. Yung buko and coconut sap value chains. Yung sa ating buko po, we recommend that farmers will explore this kasi ito po yung pinakamadali. Mamimili lang po kayo ng mga puno na medyo hindi masyadong malalaki yung mga bunga, then that could serve as your enterprise already. So, buko offers a high and stable potential farmers income. When I was still working in Davao, yung buko price per piece is nasa 7 pesos po, and sa farm na po yun, wala na po silang transport because it is the buyer that comes and even harvests. So, 7 pesos per piece. So, yung isang kilo ng kopra needs about 4 pieces of coconuts. And sa ngayon, ang price ng kopra is nasa 27. So, meron pa yung gastos sa dehusking, transport, yung pag-dry ng kopra. Marami pa po siyang gastos yun. So yung 26 pesos, kung meron kang net doon na say 15 pesos, i-divide mo yun into 4. So yung income mo per piece is nasa more than 3 pesos lang. But if you opt to sell buko, net mo na po yung 7 pesos per piece. So mas stable po siya, and the skill required for you to exploit yung opportunity is simple lang po. And itatanong nyo, saan po kami magmamarket? Marami po ang gustong umiinom ng buko dahil marami po ang health benefits ng coconut water and the buko itself. If you contact the PCA, marami po itong benefits like anti-cancer. So 1 buko a day will drive the doctor away. Wala na po tayong mga sakit-sakit yan sa kidney, as I mentioned earlier. Isa po itong na-overlook ng mga consumers that we have to rehydrate every day. So 1 buko a day, yun po. So yun yung potential natin na market. The population itself na meron tayong how many? In the Philippines, meron tayong more than 100. Kahit 50% of that would consume buko, that's 50 million. And how many coconuts we are producing every day? That's only 14 million, and marami pang napupunta sa kopra doon. So, hindi po yun yung question of saan yung market. It's a question of being innovative. So, dito sa value chain na ito, this is where the buko peeling, yung buko peeler kahapon na show na technology would be used, and pwede po natin itong expand ito food carts and kiosks as an option. On the other hand, yung coconut sap-based industries natin offers opportunities for the farming opportunity, although the domestic market is underdeveloped as the price of the sweeteners are high and areas that are suitable to develop are limited. So maganda naman po yung ating sweetener. So pwede naman po bawat pamilya magtanim na lang ng 1 to 3 puno para sa supply. Kasi po medyo mahal talaga if the general public would patronize, medyo may kamahalan siya compared to the ordinary sugar. But kung magtatanim naman, hindi na siya maging mahal. It will be more accessible. Next slide, please. Kahapon, itinanong kung paano natin ma-stabilize yung copra price, and I said wala po tayong full control of it unless the coconut farmers or the coconut farmers organization or the enterprises would find alternative products and alternative market. So it's really worth value adding and optimize raw material recovery to optimize yung profitability ng enterprise. So in the screen, makikita natin, from just merely the buko, then you could add value by selling the peeled buko, converting it into buko juice, converting it into like yung mga halo-halo sa street. So from just 7 pesos per piece, it will now increase the value to as high as siguro 35 or 50 pesos per piece. And then yung kanyang buko has gawin naman siyang organic fertilizer or used to grow naman vegetables for your other business. Next slide, please. This should be my last slide. The fastest way to earn more income is to make coconut farming as an enterprise. Operate your farm as an enterprise. It is a low investment, low risk enterprise. By immediately applying the appropriate practices, yield, performance, and productivity can be doubled or optimized. Optimum coconut yield performance should be a synergistic effect of several elements and processes provided during each stage of coconut development to achieve high farm productivity. These elements and processes combines genetic and environmental influences. Practice of organic agriculture would also be helpful because organic certified products are preferred by major markets. If you look at the model I prepared, makikita natin that high farm productivity should start with selection of good quality seedlings. And then pag tumubo na yung seedling, dapat alagaan yan, may fertilizer talaga. Hindi nag-fertilize si farmers, not even yung mga application of mulching, yung use of organic fertilizers, kaya mababa yung kanyang productivity level. Sa ngayon, nasa 45 nuts per palm per year lang po tayo, when in fact it could be doubled to 90, and the optimum would be around 100, meron pang 130 depending on the variety. So just imagine kung meron kang dwarf producing like 15 fruits every 25 days, and kung ibebenta mo yun as buko, i-multiply mo kahit 10 pesos na lang per piece pag wala kang value adding. So that would be 150 pesos per every 25 days. Now, idagdag mo pa yung value adding. Napakadami dun. So it's really important to fertilize. And then, pag namulaklak na yung ating coconut because you fertilize and it grow, pag namulaklak yun, dapat ma-ensure na meron yung mga female buttons. Dapat ma-pollinate. Kasi kung hindi ma-pollinate, magkameron yan ng abortion and wala ka ring mabubuong coconut fruit. So, kailangan doon yung pollination. Mag-grow tayo ng mga bees. Mag-alaga ng mga bees for the pollination. And then, with that, dagdag mo pa yung sunlight, appropriate planting density, planting distance, and yung layout. Kasi sun-loving po yung ating coconut. Plus the water, hindi nag-irrigate. So yung mga malalapit sa bahay, yung mga washings natin, pwede nating everyday ilagay natin sa coconut instead of just throwing them. So with that, by increasing po yung ating pamumunga ng coconut, yung kanyang monthly yield, automatic na po pwede nating ma-double yung income from the coconut. Idagdag mo pa yung value adding, idagdag mo pa yung intercropping. So that's really enterprising. So basically managing your coconut farms to be a profitable enterprise is the best jump start. So use your farm efficiently and use your coconut on a optimum. With that, I would like to thank you. That ends my presentation. So PCA would be willing to assist sa mga interested farmers and MSMEs. Our office is reachable. Isang text lang, isang send ng email. And on the screen are our contacts. Thank you so much and good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much po, Ma'am Rose. So, sakto po talaga yung inyong presentation of market opportunity sa coconut. Kasi po, apart from sharing information ng, for example, the production technology of coconut, which diniscuss po natin kahapon, we also provide our participants with agribusiness opportunities. So, dito po sa Usapang Agribiz, gusto po talaga namin na makapag-network po or makapagsimula o mapalago palalo ng ating participants ang kanilang agribusiness venture. So, this is what we really aim for in Usapang Agribiz. So, later po, kung meron pa po kayong further questions about the agribusiness opportunities presented by Ma'am Rose, you may send it po dito sa ating chat box and we will discuss it later during the Q&A portion. Ayun po. Thank you so much again, Ma'am Rose. And see you later po sa Q&A. Thank you po. And I hope you're all excited because we will now talk about an innovation, which is the coconut cheese technology. So our resource speaker is a Science Research Specialist 1 in the Food Product Development Division of the Philippine Coconut Authority Albay Research Center. She earned her degree in Bachelor of Science in Food Technology from the University of the Philippines, Mindanao in Davao City. Her work experience includes quality assurance, training, and safety of food products. She was part of the research and development team who developed the coconut cheese technology, which garnered second place during the Agri-Aqua Technology Pitching, Training, and Competition conducted by the Bicol Consortium for Agriculture and Resources Research and Development. Currently po, she is working on product development of coconut-based food products. I would like to call on Ms. Saibil Ann Marie Eroy. Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, thank you po, Ms. Hannah, for a kind introduction. Let me share my screen. I think po naka-disable po yung screen sharing ko, ma'am.
Sige, ma'am. We'll fix it po. Wait lang, ma'am. So while waiting po to fix the sharing po, so again po, we have a feedback form na para po makuha ninyo yung copy of the presentation of our speakers. Kindly send po ang inyong feedback later after the virtual forum. So yung email address po ng inyong i-register doon sa feedback form po ang gagamitin namin to send it. And that will also serve as your attendance here in the forum. So thank you so much po. And again po, kung meron pa po kayong questions, baka po naiisip ninyo yung mga questions or concerns sa mga research resource speakers natin kanina, kindly send it na lang dito sa ating chat box. So, so let's check po ulit ang ating sharing. Sige ma'am, try po ulit. Ayan. Yes, we can see your screen na po.
So, clear na po yung presentation ko, ma'am?
Yes po, we can see it.
Okay po. So, once again, good morning to our participants for today's webinar. As presented by Ma'am Rose, the different coconut products, indeed, coconut is a versatile crop. Almost all of its parts can be processed into different food and non-food products. We have the mainstream products promoted because of the health benefits. The VCO, cocoa sweetener, cocoa flour, powdered and canned coconut water and coconut milk, desiccated coconut, coco lambanog, and so on. But today, I'll be sharing to you another technology to produce cocoa-based food product from coconut milk. That is coconut cheese production technology. So coconut cheese technology is a simple farm level technology. It is easy to adapt and low investment cost. It doesn't require big machineries, and the materials needed are just simple cooking tools. So the method is not complicated. You just have to mix all the ingredients, pasteurize the mixture, add the coagulating agent, scoop and drain the cheese curd. And instead of using animal rennet and starter cultures as coagulating agents that are quite expensive and difficult to purchase in small quantities, plain vinegar was used. So these are the materials needed. We have the cooking pot, cheesecloth, weighing scale, timer, draining pan, perforated basket, thermometer, ladle, mixing bowls, burners, and chiller. So available po to siya lahat sa ating kitchen. So very easy po na ma-prepare ito. So the ingredients are water, coconut milk, skim milk powder, salt, and vinegar as our coagulant. So let's watch a video presentation sharing the step-by-step procedure in cocoa cheese production. So, ayan. Following the procedure, we will be able to produce coconut cheese. So, it's very simple and kaya nyo na po siya agad na gawin kahit sa bahay lang. So, coco cheese is a soft white cheese made of coconut milk and non-fat dry milk. So, coconut milk will be the source of fat and the non-fat dry milk will be the source of the protein. So, it is comparable to quesong puti, the white cheese produced by coagulating carabao or cow's milk using also vinegar. So, it is nutritious, low in calories and sodium, a good source of protein, and contains high amount of phosphorus and calcium. The technology is already standardized. So following the processing method and strict application of the good manufacturing practices, we can produce high quality cocoa cheese compliant with the FDA standards. So the product could last up to 4 weeks in PP tab containers and 3 months when it is packed in nylon vacuum pouch. So we also have a comparative analysis of cocoa cheese and quesong puti, the traditional white soft cheese in the Philippines. So cocoa cheese has higher phosphorus and calcium content and a longer shelf life. It can also be sold for 150 pesos per 200 grams. So that price po ay meron na yan siyang 30% markup. For a production assumption of processing 12,000 nuts per year with 2,800 kilo coconut cheese produced, the required investment cost is around 1.3 million, a selling price of 150 pesos per tab has a payback period of 1 year. So this is based on the cost and return analysis conducted in 2021. So to summarize it, cocoa cheese is nutritious, preservative-free, has longer shelf life, affordable, and easy to adopt. So it is another source of livelihood, and consumption of cocoa cheese could promote good health. That ends my presentation. So you can contact the Food Product Development Division on the email address and contact details projected on the screen. So thank you once again for listening and let's have a productive day.
Thank you so much po, Ma'am Sai, and thank you so much for sharing po yung coconut cheese product. And I think marami na rin po sa ating chat box na nagsasabing interested sila na malaman yung coconut cheese production and humihingi nga din po sila ng copy ng inyong lecture, ma'am. So, we will send it po once na nakapag-send po kayo ng feedback sa ating feedback form. So, yung email address po, again, na-registered po doon po namin isi-send ang copy of the presentation. So, again, Ma'am Sai, thank you so much po. And now, this is something new for the Usapang Agribiz series. Kasi po, we invited 2 successful businesses to share their success story in the coconut industry. So hopefully po, you'll be inspired by their testimonials. And our first business po to feature is the Lionheart Farms. So from the ground up, our resource speaker has led Lionheart Farms to establish a large-scale integrated coconut plantation and processing facility in southern Palawan focused on specialized coconut flour-based harvesting and processing to supply world markets with sweetener and seasoning products like coconut syrup, aminos, and vinegar. So he has a unique international profile, having worked in Asia, the US, and Europe within both startup and big corporate organizations. He is also an experienced leader with executive management and board experience in both public and private companies. Let us welcome the co-founder, CEO, and president of Lionheart Farms Philippines Corporation, Mr. Christian Moeller. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. Do you want me to share the presentation from this end, or are you going to run it from your end?
Whatever is more comfortable for you, sir.
If you want, you can run it from your end, and I'll just tell you when to go to the next slide.
All right, sir.
Okay, so first of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining this event, and I hope that you will find this contribution interesting. Obviously, there is so much that could be said, and there are many aspects of this which are relevant in all kinds of different ways. So I'm going to, given the very limited time, I'm going to try to highlight a few specific aspects that I find particularly interesting at this particular moment in time, because there's obviously, we have a new administration and we can see all the initiatives that are coming with regards to value adding, with regards to improving agricultural productivity and addressing food security aspects. So first of all, you can look at our website. You have the address here, otherwise it's easy to find in Google. And maybe just as a little bit of a background, first slide, please. Next slide, please. Can you, yeah, okay. So this is kind of where we are today. And I think that maybe you should try to imagine that 6 years ago, there was nothing. We started by putting out literally about 12,000 seed nuts on a 40 by 60 meter nursery area and we had a small, very simple bamboo bridge across. And there are actually, I think, a couple of people in the forum today that had the pleasure of seeing that at that time. So I'm also sharing this, and I want to be very clear, I'm sharing this from the perspective of the work that we did here in the south of Palawan. And keep in mind that when we came here, we did not have cemented roads for about 200 kilometers around us. We did not have any electrical supply anywhere in the area. And for the most part of our operating area, we still don't have that. And the few places that we have, it's very unreliable. We did not have any mobile communication, basically on all the fundamental basic infrastructure that very often would be considered to be essential to do anything like this. It did not exist. So we expect when we have fully developed the farm, we expect to have more than 1 million palms. And we have all of this put into what we call our own farm, which is an area of 3,500 hectares, which is established in partnership with the indigenous people's community, the tribe of the Palawan tribe. And also, of course, it goes without saying that we work closely together with DNR and other organizations. The original invitation, because some people often ask me, why Palawan? The original invitation was actually very much at the encouragement of the Philippine Coconut Authority, together with the province of Palawan. And there was actually an invitation with a vision to establish sustainable agriculture in the south of Palawan. And that was the invitation that we responded to. Today, we create work for more than 1,800 people. I think that actually it's coming close to 2,000 and it's growing quite quickly. And I expect that we will be somewhere between 8,000 to 10,000 people, let's say in 5 years from now. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. So I think this is a little bit of, you can say, going up in the 30,000, 40,000 feet level of perspective when you go into something like this. We always took the view of of saying that we start with sustainable development, and we wanted to consider very carefully what are the elements of sustainable development, the 4 pillars of social, environmental, governance, and economics. And what we were very particular about is how can we achieve a positive and meaningful impact in each of those aspects. And of course, when we looked at that, we also looked very carefully at what were the structural challenges in communities like this, as well as those specifically of tropical agriculture and of course, within the coconut industry. So next slide. So this basically, I mean, these were the observations that we made, and that is, if we were to try to have this kind of transformation, we call it sustainable transformation. The clearly what we hear so many people talk about, and it's obviously been the focus of several of the presenters that we've just listened to, is of course, how can you increase value? And how can we give an opportunity for more people to participate in the value chain and extract more meaningful value from that relationship? And that has been our focus. Essentially, how can we bring a transformational opportunity to participate in the value that is created, and to make sure that we can share that equitably across and with all the participants. And when we talk about value creation, there are lots of initiatives that's been going on for years. This is everything from intercropping to lots of other initiatives. The problem is, of course, when you go up that left axis, then quite quickly, you will see that complexity will start to go up. And so as you add complexity, and I noticed that has also been highlighted, I mean, you start to obviously require a very different set of skills. You need to all of a sudden address all kinds of market considerations. You need to comply with governance. And of course, you need to be able to connect with the capital markets. You need to be able to have the required funds for investment. And this is also something that I think is important to understand for our kind of engagement. We are not talking about a payback period that is well beyond 10 years. So you can imagine the kind of uncertainty and that you need to be able to deal with. And that in itself requires a significant, you can say, preparation and skill set that needs to be brought together. So in order to justify that, and in order to address, essentially, go from this disconnected value chain and ultimately to a connected value chain, the simple answer is, of course, that you need to introduce some scale. And at the same time, you need to be able to do that in a way where you can reduce your unit cost, because I see quite a lot of you can say, value creation initiatives where when you actually test the production cost or the price at which those products can connect with the markets, they're not long-term competitive, and they might find some very interesting and definitely admirable niche markets. But of course, the question is here, how do we drive transformation, and not just at the niche scale, but how can we actually come up with some answers that can be multiplied and that ultimately can lead to help us to move from how do we feed just ourselves to feed a single family, but how do we actually go to feeding a nation, contributing towards economy building and all of those aspects. So next slide, please. So our answer, look at my my sort of earlier statements as a little bit of the considerations that we had for what is it that we have to think about when we put our business model together. So I think that probably the single boldest decision that we made, because if you look at value adding at the processing end of this, Obviously, there's been processors around for many, many years, and they have already, to a large extent, harvested the economies of scale in processing. They have industrialized. These are highly professionalized businesses. And the particular challenge that we chose to try to address is, of course, how can we be farmers? And if we want to be farmers and we want to have this address those challenges, where do we need to start? And our decision was very much, we need to start in the soil, and we committed ourselves to what we call organic regenerative agriculture. And today we perform that throughout the entire business. And we literally start in the soil, and we manage this complexity all the way through to a finished product. So next slide, please. Now, as I said, we are fully committed to an active soil management. And I think this is a very, I mean, we hear so much about organic practices and organic farming, and it's obviously put in, and discussed in the contrast of conventional. So the use of inorganic fertilizers and many other inputs. So when you go to our kind of regenerative approach, you need to get into the soil, and getting into the soil is complicated because even within, you could say, a relatively small area of our farm, although it's a big farm, it's still in the grand context of things, it's still a relatively small farm. The soil conditions are vastly different. The specific area dynamics are different, slope, not slope, different kind of surrounding growth. And all of this leads to a requirement to have an approach that is specific to that area. We have our farm divided into 33 smaller areas. And we have this mosaic approach where every one of those areas has different performance standards, has slightly different adapted application processes. And of course, we have different inputs and different treatments and active management of that soil, depending on the specific conditions in that area. We produce all our own bioorganic inputs. So this we bring into both what we call a bio-yield and a biodefense approach. And I think that, I mean, today we are at around 700 tons per month of just the granular bioorganic fertilizer, which we apply every 3 months to every single palm. And we also have actually a much bigger liquid application, which is applied on a monthly basis, both to soil and to the palms. So this is a very, very extensive maintenance program. And I noticed that there was a reference by one of the earlier speakers to a sort of active management of the soil, I mean, of the palms. And I would just say we fully subscribe to this. One of the more interesting things about taking this approach is, of course, that once you start to produce all your own inputs, you also create a huge ecosystem of local suppliers, and that starts to drive a massive circular economy, because now they are not just involved on the front end of this, but of course all the way through to the finished product. So there have been some attempts to try to establish what's our economic impact to this area, and it's currently estimated to be between 1.5 to 2 billion peso per year. So that's quite transformational to a place like this when you consider that there wasn't very much in terms of employment opportunities that was available to anyone prior to this, and considering that all of this land has been in fact contributed from the individuals, from the families of the indigenous community. Next slide, please. So we wanted to be very careful not to, because of course you could say in this nucleus of the farm, this is where we achieve these economies of scale. This is where we achieve this high degree of specialization. And we wanted to be very careful to make sure that we would not have a situation where all the benefits would only go to that, should we say, well-defined part of the community that were direct participants in that. So we created our partner farming program. So today we actually operate that partner farming program across 3 municipalities, Quezon, Rizal, and Batarasa. And this is becoming quite an extensive operation, and one that also, of course, gives us this very unique opportunity to take individual farmers. I can tell you we have Kabalikat farmers that are earning 30,000 pesos a month. They're hardworking, and you know, they have an opportunity, whether they are the owners of the palms or they are just, I actually launched this expression about 3-4 years ago, saying that we want to make farming sexy because we wanted to address this challenge of farming for the next generation. So to try to get young people engaged in this. And as part of this program, you don't even need to own your own farms in order to be essentially assigned to a farm area. And you can set this up as your own business. Next slide, please. The biggest challenge is, of course, that ultimately you need customers, and you need to understand the markets, which in itself is quite a bit of a challenge. So these are trends that we identified already back in around 2017. And I maintain that these are the trends that I show from 2017, because those are the ones we originally used to define our 3 focuses, which is healthy, sustainable, and traceable. And it's very important for us that we can actually substantiate those 3 commitments. I usually say, bring it into the DNA of our product. One of the biggest challenges is, of course, that customers, whether it's you know, in the Philippines or around the world, they want validation. What does that mean? They want to understand the story. Where does it come from? How was it produced? And so forth. That's the relatively easy part of it, which is more about marketing and so forth. But the other part is, of course, they want validation in terms of certification, in terms of various assessments. And this is highly complex again, because those certifications, they vary by market and specific certain channels. Next slide, please. They want the ethical business. They want organic certifications. And I think many of you are familiar with all of these, but even there are new emerging organic standards that are coming into the market in places like Germany, where all of a sudden they're not satisfied any longer with just the EU organic. Now they want another level, and you need to constantly be able to stay on top of this. I can share with you that we have, if you include not only compliances in terms of national regulatory requirements, as well as international standards and other things that we work to, this is at present time more than 125 different elements that we need to put together. So this is highly complex, and this is why I make this point that somehow it's important to come together. It's important to achieve a certain way of working where you can have different skill sets, and that's part of the requirement for the future of farming, and that would apply to coconut and to other areas as well. Next slide, please. So you also have to commit yourself. And why do I show this? Obviously, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals we have embraced and we have adopted, and we take this very seriously, and we measure ourselves against this. But I also show this because quite often I'm asked to speak about entrepreneurship. And I usually say that here you have 17 fantastic opportunities, and all you have to do is dive into each one of them. And behind that, you find almost 170 sub-goals, and every one of them is actually a business opportunity. But let me go to the next slide. You have to be willing to, of course, make some kind of meaningful impact, and you have to be able to measure yourself. But I think that what is increasingly emerging is one more thing. Next slide, please. And that is, you have to be willing to be measured. And I just use here what is the United Nations under FAO, Sustainable Assessment for Food and Agriculture. So we have submitted ourselves for 2 years in a row to this this is a 3-week, very detailed, very extensive assessment on the ground with a team of 6 people. And I think that is the other part of this. So I choose to highlight this because it's something that is different from the ones that we talk about most often, which is of course the things like organic certification. But I want to share this perspective, which I actually look at with a little bit of concern, because it's very difficult to stay up with all these certifications, compliance, and so forth. And I think that is one of the particular challenges that we have, and one that we need to find answers to, especially as we want to engage smaller farmers and bring them into these, you can say, larger units of how we can work together so that we can achieve this kind of scale and so that we can share in the benefits. Next slide, please. So thank you very much. And I'm of course open to questions and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that inspiring talk, Sir Christian. And I was really amazed by your Kabalikat Farmers program, where one farmer was already earning 30,000 monthly. So
well, the good news is that's not just one farmer, that's quite a lot of them.
Wow.
But I think the very quick comment there is that the beautiful thing about a program like that is that you can earn what you want to earn. So we have some that just want to earn, let's say 8,000 pesos. It's really up to how do you want to work, how ambitious do you want to be, how entrepreneurial and hardworking are you?
Yes, that's really nice to know, sir. And also, thank you so much for sharing the sustainable development and transformation for agriculture. And I'm sure our participants were also able to find value in your talk. Now, we'll also hear from a cooperative success. Our next success story features the Yakap at Halik Multi-Purpose Cooperative, Quezon 2. Our resource person is Mr. Armel Amparo. He is a highly motivated, dedicated, hardworking, and proactive leader with over 15 years of experience in leading a cooperative. He was also recognized as the most outstanding leader in the cooperative level from the Quezon Provincial Cooperative. He is an accountant by profession, but currently he is the general manager of Yakap at Halik Multi-Purpose Cooperative, Quezon 2. So let us watch this video presentation of Sir Armel.
Ako po si Armel Amparo, ang General Manager ng Yakap at Halik Multipurpose Cooperative Quezon 2, Padre Burgos, Quezon. At sa kasalukuyan po ang Yakap at Halik ay ang layunin ay yurakan at alisin ang lahat ng sanhi ng kahirapan at simulang asikasuhin ang pagpapaunlad. Yun po yung yakap na siya nating pananaw o layunin. Ang mission naman po nito, hikayatin at akayin ang lahat tungo sa iiral na bagong kaayusan. Kung paiikliin po natin ang tunay na diwa ng kooperatibang ito, ang yakap ay pagkakaisa, pagtutulungan at pagmamahalan. At Pasimula po ng kooperatiba, nagsimula siya noong May 27, 2006 sa pamamagitan po ng isang pananampalataya sa samahan ng 3 persona solo Diyos na ito po ay nakabase ang punong tanggapan sa Bundok Banahaw, Dolores, Quezon, na ang ating pong founder, kagalang-galang Jose R. Ilustre, ay nag-adhika na ang mga kabataan ay magkaroon ng pagmamalasakit para sa kapakanan ng ating bayan at para sa pagpapaunlad ng magandang kinabukasan sa pamamagitan ng diwang bukluran. Kaya sinikap po niya na ang mga kabataan at mga kasapi ng samahan ay magtayo ng microfinance program o isang credit service na nagsimula sa puhunang 18,000. At dito nagtayo ang kooperatiba ng isang community-based grocery store na siyang ikalawang hanap buhay ng kooperatiba. Naging maunlad ang grocery store na ito at nagkaroon na siya ng mga branches sa sa lungsod ng Lucena at sa bayan ng Agdangan, Quezon. At ang puhunang 18,000 na umiikot sa microfinance noong 2006 ay sa kasalukuyan umabot na ng nasa 180 million sa kasalukuyan. At ang kasapi noon na nagsimula sa 80 katao ay ngayon nasa 6,500 kasapi, na ang 2,500 ay kalalakihan at ang 4,000 ay kababaihan. Tiningnan natin ang oportunidad ng kooperatiba sa larangan ng pagsasaka at nung dumating ang panahon na mababa ang presyo ng kopra, dito nagkaroon tayo ng ikalawang hanap buhay at ito ay ang Copra and Whole Nuts Trading, na ito ay nakatulong ng malaki sa pag-unlad ng dalawang bayan, ang bayan ng San Francisco at ang bayan ng Padre Burgos, dahil nagkaisa ang mga magsasaka na pagsama-samahin ang kanilang produkto. At ito ay nakita natin na ang coconut-based processing na nasamahan na natin ang food processing, na yung mga intercrop ng mga luyang dilaw, luya, iba pang mga produkto ng ating mga magsasaka ay pinoproseso ng kooperatiba para madagdagan, sabi nga, magkaroon ng value chain ang ating mga produkto sa kalinangan o kanayunan, at ito ay iminamarket natin sa iba't ibang mga tindahan ng mga kasapi at ng kooperatiba at ng iba pa nating mga trade fair na dinadaluhan. Sa kasalukuyan, ang Yakap at Halik ay nagdagdag din ng hanap buhay na may kaugnayan sa pangisdaan nung makita natin ang suliraning kinakaharap ng mga mangingisda, lalo't higit sa panahon ng habagat at mahina ang kanilang kita, ay tiningnan natin ang oportunidad na humiling sa Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources o sa BFAR na masuportahan tayo na makapag-alaga ng mga bangus sa pamamagitan ng cages. At bahagi rin ng naging pag-unlad ng kooperatiba sa pamamagitan ng pagtutulong-tulong at suporta ng Department of Agriculture ng ating lokal na palalawigang pamahalaan ay nakapagtayo po tayo ng isang farm bill na meron po tayo ditong mga native pig, meron po tayong native chicken, meron po tayong broiler, meron po tayong kambing, baka, at nakapagtanim po tayo ng mga fruit-bearing trees na katulad ng kalamansi, ng kape, ng kakao, at meron din tayong mga vegetable farm at mga root crops at banana intercrop sa ating niyugan. Nagkaroon po ng mga pagsasanay na ito po ay nagkaroon ng training ng food and non-food processing upang ang bawat hinihiram ng mga kasapi ay magkaroon ng maayos na paglalagyang hanap buhay at masustinahan ang mga panghulog o pambayad sa kooperatiba. At ito po ay sa ilalim noon ng Kooperatibang Kabuhayan at Kaunlaran ng Kapatiran Multipurpose Cooperative, isang closed type organizational or associational co-op ng ang samahan ng 3 persona solo Diyos. At sa programa pong Yakap at Halik, ito ay sinimulang buksan para maging community-based cooperative na ang layunin nito ay paunlarin ang pamayanan, bigyan ng maayos na hanap buhay ang kapatiran at hindi kapatiran sa samahan, at magkaroon ng maayos na daloy ng pag-unlad ang kooperatiba patawid sa iba't ibang mga sektor. Kaya Buhat doon sa mga training na iyon, nakita natin ang naging problema na kapag ang lahat ng kasapi ay nagtayo ng tindahan, utay-utay na higpit ang kompetisyon. Ang naging solusyon, pinulong natin ang mga may tindahan upang sila ay mag-usap-usap at magtulong-tulong. Kaya utay-utay nilang isinara ang kanilang mga individual na tindahan at dito nagtayo ang kooperatiba ng isang community-based grocery store na siyang ikalawang hanap buhay ng kooperatiba. Ang Yakap at Halik ay humarap sa mga suliraning pampinansyal. Sa katunayan, sa pagpapalawak ng kanyang operasyon, hindi sapat ang pondo na 18,000 noong panahong iyon. Kaya nagpapasalamat ang Yakap at Halik dahil naging bahagi ang UCPD-CIIF para mag-provide ng credit line at siyang naging simula na paglalakas loob ng kasapi at ng mga opisyal na mangutang sa nasabing institusyon. At ang Yakap at Halik ay patuloy ding nakikipagtulungan sa pamamagitan ng pangangalaga sa kalikasan. May mga programa tayo na may kaugnayan sa pagna-nursery at regular planting and replanting ng mga mangrove at paglilinis na rin ng mga tabing dagat at ng ating kapaligiran sapagkat alam natin na ang kalikasan ang nagbibigay ng maayos na pinagkakakitaan ng ating mga kasapi. Sa kasalukuyan po, ang ating Yakap at Halik ay engaged doon sa isang direct copra marketing na programa ng ating PCA at ito po ay nagpasimula sa pag-uusap ng ating mga kasapi na noong panahon po na kinakailangan nating mag-consolidate dahil sa mga problemang kinakaharap ng mga magniniyog. Dumating po kasi yung isang panahon na sila ay bumaba ang presyo ng kopra at nagkaroon po tayo ng problema para doon sa pagko-consolidate na mahaba ang pila sa mga oil mill at hindi po tayo nabibigyan ng priority na mabigyan din ng magandang presyo. Kaya ito po isang naging challenge sa kooperatiba, partikular sa mga kasaping farmer. At dito po ay sinolusyonan sa pamamagitan ng mga focus group discussion na pinag-usapan po ang mga solusyon na ito pong pagko-consolidate ay nagsimula nga sa bayan ng San Francisco, isang branch ng Yakap at Halik na lahat ng mga kasapi ay nagsulit ng kanilang kopra. Na ito pong kopra na to ay nang maisulit po doon sa mga oil mill ay saka lang natin binayaran yung ating mga miyembro. Kaya itong negosyo na to ay nagsimula na walang puhunan at hanggang sa ito'y magtuloy-tuloy at nagkaroon ng sariling puhunan at nakapagpalakas po tayo na nagkaroon po tayo ng branch dito po sa San Vicente, Padre Burgos, Quezon. Na ito pong direct copra marketing ay naging tugon nung panahon na marami po ang mga nagrereklamo sa mababang presyo ng kopra na nakarating po ito sa ating pamahalaan, partikular sa ating gobernador ng Lalawigan ng Quezon, ganun din sa PCA. Bumaba po ang mga opisyal ng pamahalaan upang kausapin po si Yakap at Halik at napakalaking tulong po na ang Yakap at Halik ay naging bahagi ng mga focus group discussion na pinag-usapan po sa PCA kung papaano makabubuo ng isang proposal na ito po ay mailalapit natin sa DOLE SAUP. Dahil alam natin na yung CME ay may iniiwang pondo para po sa mga coconut farmer. Kaya sa tulong po ng Philippine Coconut Authority, isang malaking pasasalamat po ng Yakap at Halik na nakabuo po tayo ng proposal na naisubmit po natin sa DOLE SAUP bilang tugon po doon sa consolidation natin na ito pong mga miyembro natin na may mga niyugan ay hindi na para magdala ng kanilang kopra sa iba't ibang trader or mga maliliit na distribution channel, kung hindi sa pamamagitan ng kooperatibang itinayo ng mga kasapi. Ito po'y direct na nating dinideliver sa oil mills, sa mga oil millers, at malaking tulong po na ang J&J ay kapareha natin na regular po nagsusulit o nagdi-deliver ng kopra ang Yakap at Halik. Kaya nung magkaroon po tayo ng presentation sa DOLE, ay sila ang unang sumuporta para tulungan po ang kooperatiba na maipasa itong proposal na inilapit po ng Yakap at Halik. At bahagi po ng pag-aaral ng kooperatiba dito sa Direct Copra Marketing, yun pong masustain yung ating mga farm worker or farm labor. Dahil nakita po natin na doon po sa level ng mga magniniyog, kukunti na po yung mga magniniyog na may kasanayan sa pagkakawit, sa pagbubunot, sa pagkakarga, hanggang sa pagpuproseso ng kopra. Kaya isa po yun sa pinalakas pamamagitan po ng programang Direct Copra Marketing. Inaral po natin na huwag mawala yung maayos na ugnayan ng mga farm worker doon po sa mga farm tenant o yung mga tagapangalaga ng niyugan. Ganon din po doon po sa mga owner. Kaya siya kapatali po yung namamagitan doon sa mga gaps na nangyayari sa farm, na ito po ay sa pamamagitan po ng consolidation, nagkakaroon ng maayos na pisada at pag-uusap ang laborer, ang tenant at ang owner. At sa pamamagitan po ng consolidation, ang yakap at halik po ang naging daan para yung mga produkto ng farmer ay magkaroon ng priority sa mga oil miller. Kaya ito po ay nagkaroon tayo sa tulong po nitong proposal ng MOA sa pagitan ng J&J at ng yakap at halik, at napakalaking tulong po sa pamamagitan po ng PCA, pinamagitanan po yung ating MOA. At ito po ay sa kasalukuyan ay nai-enjoy na po ng kooperatiba ang magagandang benepisyo na sila po ay nagbigay ng prioritization, na yung mga deliver nating kopra ay hindi na para maghintay ng 1 linggo, 3 araw, at nababayaran po ng maayos yung kooperatiba.
Sa ngayon ho, ay ang masasabi ko lang po, ang yakap po lahat ang tumutulong sa amin, ng aming lahat ng aming produkto na siya ho pinipili sa amin. Sa tulong po ng yakap at halik, nakapag-abroad po ako ng 2 anak. Kaya ako po ay lubos-lubos magpapasalamat sa yakap at halik, sapagkat kung wala po sila, wala pong pag-asiso ang ating buhay.
Ang kagandahan ng partnership ng J&J at ang yakap at halik ay may mga magagandang pribilehiyo na maaari o nai-enjoy ang yakap at halik. Nandun na yung mataas na presyo ng kopra at mabilis na pag-avail ng services at yung mabilis na pagpasok. Pagkatok nila sa aming planta, sila ay daglian ng pinapapasok. Kami sa J&J naniniwala na mapapaiting pa ang ating partnership at ang ating samahan upang ating sama-sama makamit ang layunin na matulungan ng ating mga farmers. Ang aming mga partners, nandyan na ang government agencies, PCA, DOLE, DTI at DA, kasama ng PLGU at ang private sectors, nandyan ang Shell, Philippine Shell Foundation Inc., Shell International at Philippine Shell Petroleum Corp. Kasama ng ating mga co-ops na naniniwala na itaas pa ang kabuhayan ng ating mga magsasaka at ang industriya ng pagniniyog sa lalawigan ng Quezon.
Dito sa Burgos, ang gusto kong mangyari, magkaroon ng pagkakaisa. Nung dumating na po yung pandemic, kami po ay nangailangan ng mga relief. Sa kanila ko po unang binili yung aming mga unang relief kasi ang katuwiran ko po, sila na ang unang makinabang kasi ibang tindahan kasi sa amin naman yung presyo nila parehas din sa labas. Kaya mas ako na po ang akin, tinatangili ko sila kasi unang-una sila taga rito, pangalawa makakatulong sa kanilang samahan, pangatlo doon sa kanilang mga membro kasi diyan po sa yakap ang karamihang trabahador, mga membro ng kanilang kooperatiba. Tapos kanilang po mariculture, okay naman po yung kanilang produkto, saka po yung kanilang iba pang hanap po sa karagatan. Kasi sila po ay kumpleto, sila po ay may bakery, may grocery, meron po silang copra dealer, tapos meron po silang mga gulayan, saka po nyugan at saka po fish pan. Dito naman po sa amin ang impact po ng yakap sa community. Maganda naman po kasi yung iba po naman, hindi membro, sila po ay nakakautang doon sa kanila pong lending. Tsaka po, hindi po kasama sa kanilang kooperatiba, yung iba naman po ay nakakapagtrabaho din sa kanila. Kasi ganito po ang aming ginagawa. Sabi ko nga, tayo magtulungan. Hindi dapat pinag-uusapan kung ano kayo at sino yung mga nariyang iba. Kumbaga na ating pagtulungan at pagsama-samahin. Kasi ang gusto ko kasi magkakaisa.
Naniniwala po tayo na anumang pusikit ng gabing karimlan ay laging kasunod ang bukang liwayway. Huwag lamang titigil ng kasasagwan at huwag bibitiw sa ating timbulan. Tiyak na sasapit ang lunday sa pangpang na may katagumpayan. Mabuhay po at magandang oras.
All right. So thank you so much, Sir Armel, for your presentation. So from 18,000 to now 180 million. Grabe, ang laki na ng Yakap at Halik Co-op sa Quezon. So Sir Armel will join us later in the Q&A portion. And I hope you are all inspired by their stories and mukhang madami na kayong naiipon na mga questions and also concerns ang ating participants para sa ating resource speakers. So if meron pa po kayong mga questions, pwede niyo pa po yan ihabol dito sa chat box dahil hindi na po natin patatagalin pa ang Q&A portion of the activity. Our chat moderator will be Ms. Gian Suaze and she will be reading the questions for our resource speakers. So please stand by po sa ating mga resource speakers. Pwede niyo po i-open ang inyong camera. Thank you so much, Ms. Gian.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you to our resource speakers. And also, this is the time na we will address the questions of our participants to our resource speakers. So question number 1, this is from Kasuga Integrated School. I think this is addressed to Sir Bernard Tandang from ATI. Cooperatives lang po ba ang beneficiaries ng mga programs ng ATI? Yes, sir.
Opo. Well, first po, dapat nga po, qualified po tayo, no, as and registered po tayo dun sa PCA Coconut Registry System po. Then, I believe this is applicable for the certification of learning site for agriculture, no, in which a cooperative in which members are qualified, no po, may apply po, no, provided that they meet po yung mga qualifications din, no, and yung validation na gagawin po ng ATI para doon.
All right, sir. So they should be registered sa PCA. If they are qualified members of the cooperative, they have to tama po ba, comply with the requirements or for individual farm or for a cooperative. Tama po ba? Tama. Okay, next question po from Nemarlin Leonardo. Good morning po. Kung RSBSA registered na po sa RICE, pwede rin po bang maka-avail ng trainings and benefits from PCA and ATI for coconut-related aspects? In short po, hindi po ba madidisqualify si coconut farmer if beneficiary na siya ng RCEF or Rice Competitive Enhancement Fund? Anybody po from the PCA? and ATI. So, okay lang po ba yung mga recipient na ng mga grants ngayon from other banner programs?
Sige po. Well, yung iba po kasi yung registration po nung sa RSPSA, no? So kung kasama po tayo doon, again, to avail nga po of the services, no, under the CFIDP, dapat po registered talaga sila din. So if rice sila tapos may coconut farm din sila, no, tapos eligible sila, at na-validate po na eligible sila, no, based dun sa system nga po ng PCA, then I don't think magkakaroon po ng issue na pwede pa rin po sila maka-avail ng mga services po under the CFIDP.
Alright, thank you for clarifying that, Sir James. So, another from Benedicto Angonia. Magandang umaga po. Sa layo po ng aming barangay, makaabot kaya ang serbisyo mula sa DA, particularly sa PCA? So, hindi po sinabi kung saan sila located, but are the PCA programs and services, how can they avail it, lalo po sa mga far-flung areas and far-flung barangays? Ma'am Rose, would you like to answer that for?
Yeah. Okay. Wala naman po kaming limit sa sir, as to extension services. Kaya lang po, kung nasa malayo siya, in-expect namin na meron naman silang initiative to contact yung aming PCA offices, kasi ang totoo po niyan, isang agriculturist namin, yung extension worker, marami po yung covered municipalities. So kung importante naman at mag-initiate siya to contact them, nasa naman sila, yung may provincial office addresses naman kami, or they email, contact us kung in any way, pwede naman po sila maka-avail, kasi wala po kaming restrictions as to tawag nito, area. Kaya lang po, in availing of PCA programs and projects, meron po yung mga criteria. So they have to be compliant or conforming doon sa mga criteria po for them to be prioritized.
Alright, thank you, Ma'am Rose. So yun po, you just email or coordinate with PCA office, and if you are qualified po to avail, then the PCA will validate or go to your farm if you are available po, sir, wherever you are. So yun po, so just contact them through email or phone numbers po. Next po, good morning. Is there online application po ba from Mr. Job Glansarco? So, good morning. May online application po ba sa registration ng coconut farmers if malayo sa area ng PCA? Ma'am, are this the registry system of PCA? May online application po ba?
Baka walang makasagot dito. We defer muna, ipatanong ko muna sa staff yung tanong.
Alright.
And kasi hindi kami doon very familiar with the procedure. Ipatanong ko muna, and then we'll get back to you for the answer later.
Sir Job, so we'll get back to you later po. Next po from Mr. Elvin Rutor. Good morning. Where can we request ng hybrid F1? Mauban, Quezon Province po ang farm na tataniman. I think, sir, this was answered yesterday. Tama po ba, Ma'am Rose? So may kung saan po malapit na PCA office. So we will post later here yung link ng directory ng ating PCA offices, and then you could coordinate, contact, email, or text, email and call the PCA office na ipa-flash po namin yung link, so you could call them directly so they can direct you where PCA office you could get the higher.
Kasi meron naman kaming provincial offices.
Ayan po. Our team will just put the link po sa chat box, yung mga directories namin. Next is from Miss Marie, USC Maria. So, Sir Bernard, I think she've tried opening the ATI link, was trying to browse the online learning, but the site cannot be reached. How can we proceed for e-learning?
Yes po. Actually, I validated that dun sa team po na in charge po doon, no? And unfortunately, this week, under maintenance po siya, as well as the ATI website. But I was informed that by next week po, you can try to visit again po, and magkaka-access na po tayo doon. I would like to note lang po na for this year, inaayos pa lang po yung mga courses, no, na coconut related. So baka po by next year pa po siya maging available. But may mga different available e-learning courses na po tayo, no, na pwede po nating i-access po doon.
Okay, so Ma'am Maria, may glitches lang po, but next week it's fully up and live na po and can reach the e-learning services of ATI. So next, this is from Mr. Edwin Amorao. So I think this is for Ma'am Rose. Madam, I cannot believe Philippines is importing copra. Importing copra would not be economically feasible except as to fill up outstanding contracts. So yun ma'am. Marami pong comments actually about the copra prices. So any clarifications on that, Ma'am Rose?
Yun namang importation ng copra, based yun sa ating statistical record. So, meron talaga. Kaya nga, yun yung explanation ko kanina. This happens when mataas yung mga demand and then low level yung inventory ng ating processor. So, they have to upgrade or magdagdag sila ng raw materials for them to be able na ma-serve nila yung kanilang commitments.
A follow-up question for that. With Ma'am, Philippines is a top exporter of copra. But why is it that copra farm gate prices are cheap?
Yeah, okay. Yung copra prices naman is not directly affected doon sa movement whether it is imported or exported yung copra. It depends on the global prices po dahil po price taker tayo. Kung mababa yung global prices kasi most of our crude coconut oil, yun yung napuntahan kung saan in-extract yung coconut oil sa copra naman galing. Kung ano yung global price doon, nag-follow po yung ating copra prices. Kaya nga it really depends on the supply sa end prices doon sa global market. Unless yung kinakampaign namin that we will do yung downstream processing wherein we have a control na kung halimbawa mababa ang price doon sa global, then we can hold our oils here, we process, meron tayong enough storage, yun siguro po pwede. But right now, wala po tayo nito. We are still campaigning for more value adding doon sa downstream. Kaya ganyan po tayo. So alternative products, alternative markets, yun lang po yung ating magagawa as of now. Ma'am, andito na po sana yung mag-reply regarding the registration kung
online is there online application. Yes, ma'am.
Kasama ko po siya ngayon.
Hello, sir. Yan.
Wala.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Sorry, yeah, we cannot see you. Sige po, dito na lang kayo sa my camera. So our participants can see you. Yan, sir. Yan. Okay.
So, ang tanong is, meron ba daw online
Yes, ma'am, regarding
registration?
kung merong online registration, meron po kami, pero ang ginagawa po namin, nagpupunta yung mga tao namin sa ground, sa barangay, nagbabarangay to barangay sila. Kasi kailangan pa rin po ng guidance ng mga farmers para sagutin yung mga questions doon sa form.
So sir, there is an online registration na pwedeng mag-register ang mga tao online. However, meron sa mga barangay na nag-a-assist sa pag-fill up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If sir po, tapos na po yung barangay schedule, how can they apply or can they just
Pwede pa rin po sila pumunta sa mga namin, sa mga provincial or regional offices, ma'am.
So provincial, hanggang sa, meron kasi sir biglang questions na nag-pop up, no? Until when daw po ang registration?
Sa ngayon po, ongoing pa naman yung namin, yung registration, ma'am.
Alright, so again to our participants.
Wala pa namang date na deadline para dun sa registration. Tuloy-tuloy lang siya, ma'am.
All right. So thank you po, sir. So again, to our participants, there is an online application and also your barangay will also be coordinating po para makapag-register kayo so that the PCA can assist you in registering. And kung if you want, directly na po kayo sa mga PCA offices to register. So again, from our team, please upload the link to the PCA offices in our chat box. So marami pong salamat, sir. And thank you, Ma'am Rose. Okay, next is, I think this is from Ma'am Brenda and addressed again to Ma'am Rose. As presented by Ms. Rosella, we export cocoa charcoal and it came back as activated carbon. Then the price is higher na. Is there any intervention provided by the agency to produce our own activated carbon para affordable na po siya?
Hello. Meron naman tayong processors ng activated carbon. Kaya nga lang, they cannot cope with the existing demand kasi po the global market is increasing like up to 30% per annum, but they could not serve because kinukulang nga yung ating charcoal supply. So, as to the question of intervention, meron po kaming like interagency coordinations nito, and we are initiating po na sana tawag dito malimit po, but it's not that easy. Kailangan pa po natin ng coordination. So what we can do is really to promote po yung value adding, kasi kung ibebenta na po natin yung raw charcoal as it is, mawawalan po tayo ng maraming jobs for the country. So yun lang po yung aming magagawa so far ngayon, working with the stakeholders, yung industry, para po sana instead of selling ng maraming volume doon sa abroad, dito na lang i-process.
Alright, so thank you for clarification, ma'am. So another from Pitad, it's very hard for Cocoa Farmers Association to get into oil, cocoa water, and other food products because of high food quality standards required by local and imported buyers. Not easy to manage food processing plants considering the current increasing costs. So the focus should be on community-based cocoa processing plants with simple operations manageable by Coconut Farmers Association having readily market. So ma'am, I think this is just a comment. So what can you say about that comment po from Hitag?
Yes, we agree to that. Mahirap po yung food processing, especially na strict tayo ngayon. Merong requirements on compliance with traceability requirements at saka yung food safety at marami pang certifications. Choice naman po yun, option. Kaya nga I was emphasizing that for them to exploit yung opportunities, they have to assess ano ba yung pwede nilang gawin, investments into time, yung resources. Kasi meron itong structure, it's not just easy to dive into an opportunity and then after all, wala ka namang makuha kundi losses. So isa po yun sa importante na consideration when you start a business. Paano mo po ito ma-run sustainably? Ngayon, the certifications are very expensive. Do you have enough resources? Kasi kung hindi, marami namang option. Yung mga non-food products, katulad ng products in line with husk, coir processing, marami naman po doon, which meron naman po tayong markets. So doon muna sila magsimula while developing the core of buyers, yung kanilang clients. So the business will just grow. So they could expand later vertically or horizontally. Pwede mag-add ng business kung kaya na nila and they have enough resources and the right experience to undertake the business.
All right, thank you for that advice, Ma'am Rose. So next is, I think this is for PCA and also for ATI. May training, this is from Ma'am Josella Ras. May training po ba for coconut water and mga machineries na kailangan to produce cocoa water? Like paano ipe-preserve, etc. Kanino po pwedeng makipag-coordinate or any contact person?
Yeah, I think the team of Miss Sybil Eroy here has the technology, yung processing of coconut water. But as to the list, kasama po ito sa ating Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan. And that would be under the PhilMec. Filmic, pwede po silang mag-apply doon for the enterprise development na, but for the training, pwede po siguro dito sa team ni namin, Miss Sybil Eroy. Am I correct, Miss Sybil?
Yes po, Ma'am Rose. We can provide them po technical assistance po.
Alright. So sir, so dun po sa nagtanong, you can later on if you just fill out our feedback form and put your email address and yung concern nyo po, and then we will send you the presentation of Miss Sybil, and along with that is yung contact details of their department or their division, so you could directly collaborate with them and they could train you or give you the process kung paano po maka-avail ng mga training on this coconut processing, okay po, and machineries. So next is from Paglaom Consolidated, Ms. Sheila Bautista. So Paglaom Cooperative gustong mag-invest ng nata de coco. Sino at saan kami makakahingi ng mother liquor or kaya makapag-seminar?
Yeah, okay. Let me answer that. I'm not sure if the team of Miss Sybil has parang technology package for nata de coco production, but as far as I know, I personally also coordinated with them. Yung ITDI po, meron po silang technology and they are also selling yung mother liquor. And they could also provide the training.
Alright, so
ITDI DOST.
So DOST, okay po. Next is from my Marie Mond Altesing. So ma'am, saan po kami pwedeng makapag-train ng coconut products? Mention po, either free po ba ang mga coconut trainings na ito?
I'm not familiar kung ano talaga yung mga naka-line up. We have several trainings lined up under the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan, sir, with ATI. And I think kasama doon yung mga processing of coconut products for small enterprises na anyway, pwede naman siya pang small, pwedeng pang large. But if ever, wala po doon sa naka-line na sa mga training na naka-schedule, pwede naman po on special request, PCA would be glad to provide the training po, provided na meron po kami.
Okay, ma'am, are there free or are there paid seminars and trainings?
Depende po. Normally, kung farmer organizations, free naman po yan. But sometimes, depende po sa office kung saan kayo conduct yung training. Meron pong agreement na sila po yung mag-provide ng minimal yung sa materials needed. Yun lang po. But basically, wala po yung charges as to services o ano ba, kasi it's part of our job. Yun nga lang po, yung time kasi minsan hindi po siya regularly conducted ng office na yun, like a provincial office. Kaya they have to agree on the cost of the materials, which is very minimal naman.
Alright, next question po. May I ask available technology for producing tannin and natural dye for cocoa husk? From Ma'am Lucila and Heneston. May coconut, do we have available technology for producing tannin and natural dye for cocoa husk?
Yeah, meron naman po from Zamboanga Research Center, but as we heard it yesterday, kailangan pa po nilang i-process yung registration for IP yata. But the technology is there. Yun naman pong sa direct use ng buko husk for dyeing, meron po doon technology on natural dyes with the Department of Science and Technology.
UOST. Okay. So another is there any coconut husk into boards already in Davao area? Meron na doon po bang company producing coconut husk into boards sa Davao area, ma'am? Would you know any?
Not yet. Nasa ano pa yan, exploratory. The company that would like to invest is ready and they are just preparing po yung tamang mga legworks in terms of supply ng cocoa chips at saka yung establishment of the processing plant. But very soon, pag meron na yan, we would disseminate kasi kailangan po ito ng sustainable supply of the cocoa chips. Ang initial plant yata is to be established in Quezon.
Quezon. All right. So next question po from Baitapa. How can we avail the virgin coconut oil processing center and machinery? We have already conducted training twice and have requested VCO processing center and machinery to PCA Region 12. Still awaiting reply from Baitapa of Teneb Farms Association on in Maitum, Sarangani. I think, ma'am, we will just follow up this from Region 12 po. We will forward this concern sa kanilang application.
Miss, kung under yan sa Safe IDP, that should be via PhilMec.
Okay, sige po. So, endorse na lang po sa PhilMec.
Yes, yung shared service facility.
Alright. So, Ma'am Bai, we will just forward your concern to PhilMec. From Maria, from USC Maria, for crude coconut oil processing, where can we access training here in Region 8 Eastern Visayas for crude coconut oil processing? ATI, do you have training po ba or PCA for crude coconut oil processing in Region 8 Eastern Visayas or PCA po?
Meron ba kayong technology package yan, Miss Ivil?
For the crude coconut oil, ma'am, we don't have. I think po sa ZRC, ma'am.
Zamboanga Research Center yata. We will explore. Ipadala nyo na lang po yung contact details ng inquiring participant po.
Sige po.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, sir.
Opo, if I may add po, no, connected dun sa nabanggit po kanina na si PhilMec nga po yung in charge, no, dun sa pag-review po at pagbibigay ng mga shared facilities. In any case po na may mga maaprubahan si PhilMec, no, kung saang region siya, yun po yung bibigyan ng training po ni ATI later on, no, on the different processing of this coconut products and byproducts po. So again, ito yung mga trainings po ni ATI, ito yung mga connected, no, dun sa mga ibibigay po ng other agencies, focusing particularly on integrated and diversified farming systems, no, na veering away from not only focusing on coconut but engaging in other farming systems like pag-aalaga ng hayop, yun nga, processing na rin, ganyan po. So yun po.
Thank you, sir. So another from Carol Gay Aguirre. Does Coconut Farmers Association needs to be registered to DOLE or sectors before they can avail programs mentioned, or can they avail it even they are only PCA registered or recognized pala? Yung mga associations mo, ma'am, not yet co-op. So can they avail programs mentioned, or even if hindi pa sila, or they should be registered by DOLE or SEC first before they can avail these programs?
Ma'am, yan po yata yung sa presentation po ulit ng ATI kanina, no, regarding dun sa certification of learning sites. So kung kayo po ay isang cooperative na registered po or accredited ng PCA, pwede po tayong magpatulong sa PCA po, no, na parang hingi po tayo ng endorsement na yung cooperative nyo po ay willing or may kakayahan para maging isang learning site cooperator po ni ATI. Tapos doon po yun po yung ipapasa sa ATI para ma-check niya po, no, tapos ma-validate niya. And later on po ito po kasi mga learning sites po na ito or mga farm schools din na tinatawag natin. Later on, ito rin po kasi yung mga pwedeng itap, no, ng TESDA and other agencies na nagbibigay ng training grants kung saan pwedeng maging venue for training, no, yung mga areas nila, at pwedeng matuto yung iba pang mga farmers, no, within their area ng mga different coconut related technologies and practices. So yun po yung step 1 na lang din, no, for yung mga different cooperatives natin, no. So kung kayo po ay registered na accredited na ni PCA, okay na po yun.
Okay, thank you for clarifying, sir. So again, this is for Ma'am Rose. Ma'am Rose, as mentioned in your presentation, government has no control over the low price of coconut. And you have mentioned that the Philippines is the top exporter of coconut. What drastic action can you recommend to uplift the lives of the Filipino farmers at the grassroots level?
First, yeah, I would reiterate, wala po tayong direct control doon kasi it's the market forces po, law of supply and demand. And dahil small player po si Philippines in terms of the global vegetable oils market. Kasi sa global, hindi lang po tayo coconut doon. Meron yung palm oil, soybean oils na mas malaki. We are just about 2 to 3%. So drastic solution, I think wala tayong pinaka-drastic solution right now. But the government, especially PCA, is looking at the domestic, the expansion of our domestic utilization of crude coconut oil for the production of CME. Itong coconut methyl ester na sana gagamitin as additive doon sa ating gasoline. Yun sana ang nakita namin na pinakamalaking potential to stabilize the prices wherein hindi na po tayo dependent on the exportation of crude coconut oil. And then yan yung sa downstream. Sa upstream naman, si coconut farmers should not just be dependent on copra. There are a lot of resource materials po available sa farm, like yung pwede natin ma-convert into resources na pwedeng ibenta yung ating coconut water, the husks. Pwede kayo mag-undertake doon, and the Philippine Coconut Authority is providing naman po programs under the separate budget, yung SAGAA, to support yung mga activities na yun. It's not only PCA and also yung CFIDP. Meron po tayo doon to support yung value adding talaga. Kasi unless we have additional products and ma-utilize natin optimally yung ating raw materials in the field, medyo ano po tayo, kung isa lang yung ating market, kung ano yung buying price niya, wala kang option, matatalo tayo doon. But if you have the alternative, pwede po tayong mamili.
So thank you for clarifying, ma'am.
If you will allow me, can
Yes,
I address something? Because there's been a couple of questions that seem to rotate around the same thing. And I think I would, this is a little bit of a provocative statement. I think the question here is, I mean, a lot of these global markets, the prices, we have relatively little influence over that price, right? Whether it's the oil markets that if it's that's compared to, or any of these other markets. So I think that you know, at least my experience, and I'm just simply saying this is what I have learned here. And you know, I'm a farmer's son. I grew up with farming in Europe, and I've seen how the scale changed over time. When I was young, the scale at which it could be meaningful farming was a lot smaller than what it is now. And then I look at the Philippines, and the same, by the way, is true for Indonesia and other places in tropical farming. It's predominantly a smallholder farming structure. So the question now becomes, how can we make smallholders more, enable them to extract more value, but without an expectation that you can necessarily raise prices? So this essentially means that you need to reduce, you need to become more productive. You need to be able to reduce your cost of production. But actually, you need to, at the same time, be able to significantly increase the compensation and the value extraction that goes to the individual. Because at the current value that's being extracted by those who are the participants at the farmer level, it is far too low, right? So the reality is that you need to probably 4, 5, 6 times increase the value extraction to the individual. But you can only compensate that in one place, and that is through a combination of two things, which is obviously improve your economies of scale so you get your production costs down, and at the same time you need to tap into value creation. And this was kind of what I was trying to explain with some of my slides, because and of course, this is a very long conversation, and there's a lot of experience to share here, and I will be more than happy to engage into a more detailed conversation on this. But I think that this is going to require, Because if we want to have, if we want tropical farming to survive and to be here for the next generations, and obviously we need that for food security and lots of other good reasons, right? So then we really need to think about how do we come together and farm in bigger, let me use the word constellations, because the objective here is not, and keep in mind, Lionheart does not own any land, right? So we do not own any land. So what is it we do? We actually just manage that integration. We manage that complexity. And I made reference in my presentation to what our partner farmers are extracting of value. The thing I did not mention is, what about all those people that contributed the land? And keep in mind, this was land that was not previously developed for farming, right? So, which was very specific from our point of view, because we actually wanted to address some inefficiencies in the plant material, selection of plant material. We wanted to address specific challenges with regards to agricultural practices, so higher planting density. We wanted to construct the farm in a way where we could have this continuous, what we call maintenance of the farm. So these are all the inputs that go to the farm, and I made some reference to that. But yet, keep in mind that if you come here to visit us, you will actually even have a hard time finding the farm, because when you go in the area, there's no individual field that's larger than about 30 hectares. And there are a lot of fields that are smaller, right? So this is so most people, when they hear that we farm at scale, they immediately have horror pictures of palm oil and endless destruction of environment and lots of other things. That is not the case here. It's a patchwork integration into nature, but that is highly optimized for the scale implementation. So, I mean, we are fully digitalized from one end to the other. I can sit literally just here and I can see everything that's happening in real time inside the farm. And that is kind of, so in other words, you have to unbundle all of this, and then you need to bring people back together where they contribute land, they contribute the willingness to work, and they come together around a certain large-scale management, and they become what I call a qualified counterpart to not only getting access to to capital markets. Imagine what it's like for a local farmer here to go to a bank. The nearest bank is 4 hours, 5 hours away. It just doesn't make sense. And the reality is, we have the agri reform in the law in the Philippines, which, by the way, has just been increased to 20%. And the banks are just saying, no, we're not lending. We would rather just pay the penalty, because they have no distribution. And there's no qualified counterpart. And I'm not saying that, obviously there are individuals who do an exceptional job. And as we saw earlier, there are also cooperatives who do an outstanding job. So there's a lot of beautiful stories in between. But it is this combination of where we also need to align the efforts of everything that's done from the government agencies, align that with a private sector approach and connect it at every level. And I hope you get my point here, and I'll be happy to engage more into that dialogue, and I'm happy to entertain any questions.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Christian. I think we need to create another forum for that discussion, because a lot of people will be learning on how you incorporate or include these smallholders in this kind of large-scale operation. So the next question is for you, sir. Sir, from Ms. Lucila N. Hineston. Hi, sir. What is the meaning of SAFA? SAFA, and how it is recognized in export market?
Yes, that's a fantastic question, and thank you. So first of all, the Sustainable Development Goals is something that many people care about. Consumers care about it, and when I say they care about it, they really care about it. When you go to connect with customers around the world, they care about, they ask about this. They want you to report to them. So the problem with the Sustainable Development Goals is that they're aspirational, right? You don't have to measure yourself against them. You can just say, oh, I'm working towards this specific Sustainable Development Goal. So FAO which is obviously the food and agriculture part of United Nations, they developed this assessment tool called Sustainable Assessment for Food and Agriculture. So that is basically how to make yourself measurable against the Sustainable Development Goals. And so there's also lots of other things. The capital markets care about this. Lionheart became the first company in Asia within agriculture to be certified for the Global Climate Bond Initiative, which is another way to access the capital markets. You will see, if you look at the annual report from Development Bank of the Philippines, they feature Lionheart. So meaning banks really do care about this. Governments care about this. So this is an important part of compliance. And so it touches consumer, it touches government compliance, it covers capital markets. And more importantly of all of this, it challenges yourself within the organization to just work to a higher standard, to think about these things, to integrate it into how we work, and that is how you develop your management system. So you have to challenge yourself with this, and the problem is, of course, that you have to do that with organic, you have to do that with food safety, you have to do it with so many different things, and it really is hard work.
All right. So thank you for that. Sir, this question is for you again, and also from Ma'am Rosel. I think this is a comment, and then this will be followed by another question to Sir Moeller. So that is very inspiring word from Mr. Moro. It is really nice that you mention or point out the problem with all the certifications required. Hope the agencies or I think PCA will do something about it. So dun po sa help in getting those certifications. And of course, these are very expensive. So I think Ma'am Rose,
yeah, I think that the first question first answer to that would be, I don't think the price of those certifications are going to change. And let's understand that that's a market also. These businesses that do this, they only make it more expensive, more complicated, and they will continue to change the standards, as I said. So the only way you can address that is, again, by coming together and actually reduce the cost that's applied to the finished product and the cost that goes to the individual who participates in that. So again, I think it's answered by finding new ways of producing together, by finding new ways of organizing this participation in the value chain and everything.
All right, thank you. Any comment on that, Ma'am Rose?
Yeah, okay. First, I am fully agreeing to the input of Sir Mueller here that it is necessary to consolidate the farms because the farmers are small, very small land holding, and to improve yung ating efficiencies of production, they have to be consolidated. That's why we encourage farmers organization and cooperatives, not individual farmers. So in relation to the certifications, yes, it is expensive, but there are options for these certifications to be cheaper. Like for organic certification, meron po tayong yung participatory guarantee system. PCA would be helping in cascading po yung training on that. And as an assistance din po, PCA as part of its extension services will help the farmers prepare the farms for GAP and organic certifications. Doon lang po kami. But as to the fees, then I know there are ways that together yung merong schedules ng inspection, different MSMEs can have the inspections together, but they should be as well prepared on the same level, prepared to accept such inspections towards certification. So for now, yun lang po yung mga pwede nating maitulong sa ating farmers kasi ito ay market requirements. Hindi po tayo makakaiwas dyan, but to face the realities, kailangan po talaga ito.
Can I make one other remark here with regards to organic certification? A lot of the small farmers that I have seen and that we work with, they are what we call organic by default, right? Because they don't actually have any inputs. So that's relatively simple on certification, right? So that is actually part of my concern. But farming by default without any active management is not the future. So the complexity actually goes up when you have to actively put, farm in the soil and apply inputs and so forth. So again, training 100% is the way to go, but also again finding ways to farm together and spread out that cost. And then, by the way, I think it would be wonderful if we had a revolution against all these certifications, because they are actually counterproductive to the whole concept of uplifting people and removing the inequality that is caused and actually enhanced by this. So we are actually often using the opportunity to speak out against these certifications, but the reality is that it is what consumers are asking for, and it is what they are demanding. And most of these distribution channels, especially in the international markets, and you see it even in national markets here in the Philippines, they will only put organic certified products on the shelf. They, in the category of coconut products, they're simply deselecting anything that's not organic certified.
Thank you for pointing out, sir. So, sir, with regard to coordinating or putting together or gathering all the small farmers, there is a question from Ms. Carol Gay Aguirre. Can Kabalikat system be used as a model to be multiplied or recreated to other provinces? Or, sir, my personal question is, are you moving out to Palawan so that you could cater more farmers, more farms? Because, as you know, Philippines is a smallholder country. So how can we multiply this business model and impact more?
Yeah. So first of all, let me restate again. We want to create the opportunity for smallholders to participate. Okay. So this is very important to understand. And there is a separate, I mean, both within our farm as well as within our Kabalikat Farmer program. The whole objective is to create a model that allows everyone to participate, including those people that own the land or those people that own the palms, irrespective of whether they choose to work or not work. Some have another job, some don't, some are old, some are young. The whole idea about my philosophy and the approach that we have is that you have to unbundle all that, and you have to give everyone an opportunity to participate. So can our Kabalikat Farmer program work in another area? It can work everywhere. However, it is dependent on having a nucleus, meaning a core, where you bring this scale benefit. So in other words, and you asked also the questions, are we looking at going to other parts of the Philippines? Yes, there's quite a bit of interest for us to do that. But as you can also imagine, it's quite a big endeavor, and it does require significant investment, and there are lots of other things that has to happen. And I think that right now we are arriving at that point where we have a very high level of proof of concept, and we need to expand the appreciation of what it is that is the challenge and how it can be resolved. And we are only offering one of those solutions. I don't want to say that we're the only answer to this, but we are offering one of those solutions to that. And definitely, I believe that we should be doing this in lots of different places, and we should make it possible for others to try to take a similar approach.
Thank you, sir. So there are so many questions for you. So another is, does Lionheart accept proposals from private sectors on expanding its areas for production? And then it's a great work, sir, that you're doing. So
yeah, again, we can only do this around the nucleus of where we are right now in South Palawan. But obviously the answer is yes. Anyone can participate. As long as they have one of these elements that can be contributed, whether it's land that is not previously farmed, or whether it is existing coconut areas that can go into the Kabalikat Farmer program. It all depends on how it would be implemented into other areas, and I definitely think that this is also an approach that could be adopted by, should we say, cooperatives. The problem is, of course, that you really need to take management to a very high level. And as I said, can you imagine all the things that can go wrong in just the first 10 years? And you have no way of anticipating that when you start. So it really is quite an endeavor. And that's also why do I participate in these kind of forums? Because actually I believe it is critical for the Philippines, and it is an incredible opportunity for the Philippines. This is one of the most productive areas in the world. And we have the opportunity to be a massive exporter of food products that can feed the world. And the world is asking for that. And yet, despite that, not only in coconut, but in other areas of tropical agriculture, we have underperforming productivity levels, and things have been not moving compared to, I started in Vietnam 34 years ago. I witnessed everything that happened in Vietnam. There was a rice famine at that time. Today, they're one of the biggest rice exporters, and I know why they are. And you know, you've seen the same in Thailand, you've seen the same in Malaysia, you know, even Indonesia, although they've been slow, they're making progress. So I think there is an opportunity for everyone here. We can do this. The Philippines can do this. We just need to come together. It cannot be done by government alone, and it cannot be done by private sector alone. And we need everyone to be part of that. And there is a happy future even for small farmers, because in tropical agriculture, you have unique outputs where you can create a high number of jobs per hectare. Thank you.
Thank you for that inspiring message for all of us and for encouraging us to work together. It's not just the government, and also in behalf of the Department of Agriculture, we need everyone. We cannot do it alone. The government cannot do it alone. We need the private sectors, you, the farmers, and everybody in helping building a more sustainable agriculture in the Philippines. So in the interest of time, we cannot answer for all your questions. So we will gather all these questions and send to our resource speaker. Just please fill out our registration form so we could answer back your questions and address these questions to our speakers. So again, thank you everyone. Thank you to our resource speaker, and I hope we could do this again and focus on the other opportunities. And for those who are asking for the technologies about the cheese technology or your process recipes, once again, if you fill out our form, then we will send you all the presentation of Miss Sybil and also their department's contact details. So if you have questions about the technology and the process, you could directly contact them. So again, thank you everyone. Hannah, back to you.
Okay po. So again, we will collate all the questions left unanswered. So if meron pa po kayong questions, you could still send it to Agribusiness Promotion Division. We will flash our email here on the screen. It's aitb@da.gov.ph and 0289204073. So you could still send your other questions. And we will force your concerns and questions to our beloved speakers. And to our resource speakers, you could also send your contact details here in the chat box. So our participants could also reach out to you directly. And now that we have already heard from all the resource speakers, we would like to remind you that we have a feedback form that you could answer. So we could also get your email addresses and we could send you the copy of the presentations. And this would also serve as your attendance. Mr. Adrian Tanyada will send the feedback form link here in the chat. And to our speakers, thank you so much po. Thank you so much for imparting your knowledge to our participants. And on behalf of the Agribusiness Promotion Division team of the Department of Agriculture, please accept our certificate of appreciation. So, in sincere appreciation for sharing their knowledge and expertise as resource speaker during the Usapang Agribiz Forum on Coconut held on October 5, we give the certificate of appreciation to you, our resource speakers. This will be signed by Mr. Junibert E. Besagon, our Deputy Director of the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service. So we will just send this for the the original copy of the certificate to you. Thank you so much again po to our resource speakers. And now we are already nearing the end, and we are actually over time. We are 14 minutes past 12. So I would just like to give an announcement since we still have day 3 for tomorrow. So tomorrow we will talk about the government support programs and business registration for coconut farmers. So abangan niyo po yun. We will have the Department of Science and Technology, PICARD, and also the Department of Trade and Industry, Land Bank of the Philippines, and also the Bureau of Internal Revenue. And also, sa mga susunod po na linggo until December, pag-uusapan pa natin ng iba pang commodities tulad ng purple yam or ube, moringa, hog, and pineapple. So, attend po tayo sa mga next Usapang Agribiz. And ayan po, flash po sa inyong screens ang mga schedule. And so on behalf of the APD team, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you again tomorrow at day 3. So, sige Nico, kindly flash our APD team. So, ayan po. To formally close this event, let us watch this message from Miss Christine Evangelista.
It's an honor to close this fruitful forum today. To the participants, thank you for staying until the end of the program. To the resource speakers, we are very fortunate to learn from your vast knowledge and experience. Thank you for sharing your time and valuable lessons. And to the team AMAS APD, congratulations on a job well done. Your efforts have brought forth this productive event. I hope that after this event, our participants, resource persons, and offices will continue working together to achieve a more successful agribusiness sector in the Philippines. I'm positive that this forum has brought great value to everyone. So see you again at the next events. Have a good and productive day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reaching the end of our forum. And to our resource speakers, organizers, and also to our participants, we thank you so much po. And this event would not be possible without you. And we thank you. We are the team. You can see here, we have Ma'am Mimi and Hannah, Janessa, Gian, Faye, and Raymond, Nico, Melvin, Adrian, and Renzo. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We hope to see you again soon and also tomorrow po at our day 3. Bye everyone. Happy lunch po.
Ng pagsasaka, di ito magmumula ang tunay na paglilingkod sa bansa. Katuwang ng mga magsasaka, katuwang ng mga mangingisda, kasama tungo sa pagmulat ng bansa. Sa gusto at makabagong teknolohiya, ibayong kakayahan at lakas sa pagsasaka, sapat na suporta sa agrikultura at patnubay ng dakilang manlilikhan. Dito sa katawanan ng pagsasaka, dito kami ay tapat na maglilingkod sa bansa. Katuwang ng mga magsasaka, katuwang ng mga mga malinis na